Tiffany Trump and Baron Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, escorting Dr. Biden and Mr. Emhoff, the Republican Staff Director of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Ms. Emily Leviner, the Senate Secretary for the Minority, the Honorable Gary Myrick, the House of Representatives Chief Administrative Officer, the Honorable Catherine Spindor, and Mr. Bruce Fisher.
Mike, check.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jill Biden and Mr. Douglas Emhoff.
Douglas Emhoff. They should call him Douglas F-off. I'm going to do my mic check and bring up the levels here. Why not RSBN or War Room? I don't want to rip off their stream. C-SPAN is public, I think. Okay, you tell me if I'm too loud compared to the talk again. You will stop. Yeah, let's see if it's better now. I can increase my audio a little bit. Seriously, has nobody made the Douglas F off joke? Because if they didn't, like Doug M. Hoff, Doug F. off. Yeah, dude, they said it started at noon. Okay, so much better, sir. Audio is good. Thank you. This is a knob that I can adjust my God, the live streaming has been taken to the next level. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to rip off War Room or Right Side Broadcasting. They offer unique insights. C-SPAN is for public consumption. Craftsman. I am drinking La Croix, carbonated water with the peach plum this morning. Holy crap! Joe Biden forgot to pardon his brother. Can I decrease the audio here? Let me see here. Let's go here. I'm getting a bunch of text. That might be better. Okay. Lower it there. Dramatic music. Well, I guess I can just talk. Yeah, I'll talk until something happens here, and I'll lower the volume even more. And then there's something to listen to. We'll jack it back up. Joe Biden forgot to pardon Jim Biden, and I don't know if it's like if that's the last one that he's holding on the back burner, so Jim can get another hour of criminality in. The text messages are coming through a little bit delayed. Let me see something. Still question mark. I lowered the audio on the stream. C-SPAN. So why is Doug Emhoff with Jill Biden? I'm joking. They're all there. They got turn down the music. Okay. Oh, I see what I did. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Okay, so here. What's up? Hold on one second. Which stream am I sharing here? This one. Okay, I lowered that. Okay, now we'll work the audio and get it going solid here. All right, people. That audio is not coming from me. There's Don Jr. Yes, sir. This is all the audio coming from the event itself. Do I still need to turn it down? I'm going to lower. I'm just confused. I've been turning down the volume on the wrong one. Okay, so I know what the problem was now. Here, this is I'm going to go share this screen. Hold up, we'll get there. You're not missing anything, people. This. No, that's my screen. That's not what we want to see. What we want is not that one. I'm closing this stream. I'm going to close this and simplify this. Let me bring up the link that Encryptus sent me, which is the one I had before, but I think I might have been co-streaming the wrong one now. Okay, so I get this. Here's the Trump inauguration. We're only missing some corny music. Now we're missing an ad. Here we go. Now I know we're on the right one. Oh, Elon Musk is there. There's Eric Trump. Okay, so is this audio too loud? There's the guy that allegedly refused to shake hands with Kamala Harris, and they called him a racist. Idiot jackasses didn't see that he was holding a cane in his hand. Okay, there we go. I'll bring it down a little bit so we can hear my soothing voice. I feel guilty being it's not really sunny and beautiful in Florida. At least it's rainy and cold by Florida standards. But compared to the weather that I'm told is in DC right now, are our audio levels good, people? The beautiful music plays. That's the rotunda. Bring up my mic. Can't really bring up my mic too much. I'm going to get some. There we go. Okay, I'll keep my mouth right next to the microphone, people. Look at all these very important people. Okay, so Barack Obama's there. George W. Bush. There's Bill Clinton. He's looking like he's had his dose of adrenochrome. There's Doug F. Hoff, who's looking very smug these days. That little bastard smirk on his face. Sorry. And there's Jill Biden, who's very angry at life's circumstances. Are you singing the piano? Look at Doug. Doug is laughing at a joke that nobody's heard. Now he's looking up to... Okay, sorry, I can do this all day. This is why I don't get invited to parties, people. So the question is, if anybody says the piano's too loud, I can't control I can't lower the volume anymore. Melania is looking pretty regal. Let's see here. Hold on. That woman's very happy. Happiest day of her life. That woman was caught off guard, not supposed to be where she's supposed. Oh, there. That's Melania Trump right there. I want to know how much that outfit cost in a non-judgmental way, just from a purely objective, like how much stuff costs these days. There she is. The photographer who is hurriedly scuttling to the front to get the moment. She captured it, and now she runs off again. She looks scared, like maybe she's getting in the way of the cameraman. This looks a little solemn. I mean, shouldn't it be a little happier? Oh yeah, I gotta send the link. Blast the link out, people. Let everybody know that we're live. Good thing I've got a team of people to tell me, Viva, it's on now, and it doesn't start at noon. Grok, you bastard, you led me astray. Let's see, we got the link to the Rumble. Let's make sure we're live on the Rumble. And Melania's overcoat is a $5,000 overcoat. That hat is probably $600. It says J32356 over in our locals community. Let me see if I can do this here. This is actually someone from prison. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing "Oh America," please welcome the Armed Forces Chorus and America's tenor, Christopher D. Macchio.
Calling me, you are calling me to be true to thee, I will be. Oh, America, no weeping, let there be no wounded heart. Will keep you in my keeping till there be understood. Your hand and wave to the sun.
Every time I get a call from Dexter, this is how long it takes to get through to him. 4 minutes or 2.5 minutes.
From your mountains grand and
all right, Dexter, I'm going to lower the volume because somebody's singing, so they can listen to that afterwards. Dexter, we are live to the world watching the intro to Trump's inauguration. Dexter Taylor, everybody, for who's watching. is in the Coxsackie Correctional Facility. J.D. Vance, now Dexter, is entering the rotunda. Dexter, you want to tell the world how you're doing? It's today's the day. It's the ceremony has started, and I didn't want to not take the call, but what's the mood on the inside? Is there any sentiment inside prison as to the way America's headed?
Oh, there's a lot of pro-Trump sentiment in here. For one reason or another. But I just heard about the guys talking back and forth on the cell block not too long ago, talking about Biden, talking about Trump, talking about down-ticket Democrats. A lot of people see clearly through the Democratic agenda, I guess you could say, and are very interested to see what's going to happen in the next few years. So, there's a lot of positive sentiment in here, and of course in my family, it's like my mom especially. She knows the Democrats put me here, so she turned more or less overnight. She went from being a lifelong Democrat voter to going Republican all the way down the ballot in this last election. So this is a pretty interesting sea change. I think a lot of people thought that the magic. I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say now we're looking at Chuck Schumer, scum of the earth, enter the rotunda.
Oh, okay.
And for those who don't know, you are doing 10 years for having assembled your own firearm from lawfully procured components in your own apartment in New York. The judge said there's no Second Amendment in this courtroom.
The Second Amendment has no place in this courtroom. Yes. Yes. And that's one of the reasons I'm very glad. One of the reasons I was very glad to see the Democrats take such a thumping in the last in this last election, and I'm hoping that
it continues.
Calamity rolls downhill and hits quite a few down-ticket Democrats as well.
All right, Dexter. Don't be offended. Can you call back later today when we're not live? I think Trump is now entering, so we're gonna stream and commentate on this inauguration.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'll give you a call back later.
All right, man. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Got everybody saying if you want. There's nothing happening in the stream yet. You want to focus on music, but I'll bring it up. There's Barron Trump. One day with the president. He's a freaking tall kid. Holy cows. Okay. Now we're settling down. People are smiling. There's Doug Burgum in the background. Elon Musk. That is all I can identify. Okay. Seems to have gone mute. I can increase.
Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States.
Which one?
Ranking member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer. House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries. And
Honorable.
Senate Majority Secretary, the Honorable Robert Duncan.
Saving that joke. Hakeem Jeffries, also scum of the earth. Okay, I'm going to lower the music until they start talking. Apparently, people are saying the music will get you struck. I don't think so. This has to be.
President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr. and Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Kamala Davy Harris.
If I were there, Joe, you forgot to pardon your brother. Joe, yeah, oh yeah, I did. Oh crap. When can I pardon until noon? Shit, that's 22 more minutes. Let's let all the people who think Joe is a body double tune in. Oh, he's pulling the Hillary Clinton balloons coming from the sky. Nerdrotic has been struck. I'll just be sure to talk over the music. Let me make sure. It can't be. This music is not copyright protected music, and it's C-SPAN anyhow. But
ladies and gentlemen, escorting the Vice President-elect, the Executive Director for the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Mr. Michael Wagner, Senate Deputy Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper, Jason Bell, and House Deputy Sergeant-at-Arms, Mr. Sean Keating.
Okay, so the audio is a little bit loud. Let me bring it down to touch. Okay, we'll just take that down, see what's going on. Vice President-elect until 20 minutes from now. My stream is still up and good, and I will vigorously fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President-elect of the United States, the Honorable J.D. Vance.
Woo! Woo! Go, JD. Yes, sir. We had JD on the channel for a sidebar. Interviewed a vice president. Okay, so they've introduced him. I think that's his wife behind him, if I'm not mistaken. Am I mistaken? There's Eric Trump, Don Trump Jr. All right. Who's that guy right behind JD? Oh, shoot. He's playing with his ear. That's embarrassing. Stop it. Dude, just don't eat it, and you won't pull a Fauci. That is Jeff Bezos. Guys, am I crazy, or is that Jeff Bezos behind JD? I love JD's eyes. People make fun of them. I love them. He looks they're like puppy dog eyes. He looks like a nice, sympathetic person. Got a good smile. Yeah, it's the CEO of Google. CEO of Google.
Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the President-elect, the Staff Director for the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, Elizabeth Farah, House Sergeant-at-Arms, the Honorable William P. McFarland, Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and Doorkeeper, the Honorable Jennifer A. Hemingway, Senate Majority Leader, the Honorable John Thune, and the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise, Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honorable Mike Johnson, Senate Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles E. Schumer, Ranking Member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer, and Chairwoman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
By the way, based on the Kalshi markets, it looks like Biden just pardoned his brother. Yeah, I think, let me just see, did that just happen? Because it went from 20% or 15% to 99%. So I think they must have made the announcement. Let me lower this down here because of music. Around 12 p.m. Eastern, Trump takes presidential oath of office.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
This is the culmination of a comeback. You have to understand what world we'd be in had things gone differently without divine intervention on July 13th. Can you imagine? Did Biden just pardon his... Yeah, it's Bezos behind, okay. And then the question is, what just happened with Jim Biden? Okay, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, this is. I mean, I guess this would be better if it were done outside. He should just do the inauguration at Mar-a-Lago. Have an outdoor crowd. Well, although today would have been, raining and cold, but what just happened?
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
The only president who has actually gotten younger the older he gets. Obama looks like he had the soul sucked out of him after his 4 years or 8 years. Trump looks better now than he did in 2016.
Please welcome the chairwoman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah, a lot of these people are far from honorable.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 60th presidential inauguration. Today, President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect Vance will take their oaths of office, and we will witness the peaceful transfer of power at the heart of our democracy.
They got to take digs even during the ceremony. Shut up, Klobuchar. Oh yeah, clap. Peaceful. Have you been spying on him again, Klobuchar?
For the past year, I've chaired the inaugural ceremony committee, which includes the leadership of Congress from both parties. We thank the committee and Capitol staff and law enforcement who worked so hard over the last year, and especially the last 3 days. You've done a beautiful job, and you have shown grace under pressure.
Reading some of the chat, which I will not read out loud.
Our theme this year is our enduring democracy. The presence of so many presidents and vice presidents here today is truly a testament to that endurance. We welcome President Biden and Dr. Biden. We welcome Vice President Harris and Doug Emhoff, President Obama, President Clinton and Secretary Clinton, President Bush and Laura Bush, Vice President Pence, Vice President Quayle and Marilyn Quayle. The justices of the United States Supreme Court are with us, all 9 of them, I counted, and of course, the Trump and Vance families. This ceremony marks what will soon be 250 years of our democracy. It is the moment when leaders, elevated by the will of the people, promise to be faithful to our Constitution, to cherish and defend it. It is the moment when they become, as we all should be, the guardians of our country. Through war and peace, through adversity and prosperity, we hold this inauguration every 4 years, and today it falls on Martin Luther King Day, a further reminder that we must strive to uphold the values enshrined in our Constitution, the freedoms, the liberties,
Oh gosh.
and as is inscribed on the entrance of the
there.
United States Supreme
2
Court,
people don't look happy.
equal justice under law.
3 people don't look happy in that picture.
But what makes this moment more than a passing ceremony is all who are watching it across the country, the people of this nation, the ordinary people doing extraordinary things. President Kennedy, who at one point worked as a senator in this building and would often walk through this very rotunda, once said, "In a democracy, every citizen, regardless of interest in politics, holds office. Every one of us is in a position of responsibility." With that responsibility of citizenship comes an obligation not to seek out malice, as President Lincoln once reminded us, but to view others with a generosity of spirit despite our differences. With that responsibility of leadership comes an obligation to stand our ground when we must and find common ground when we can. With everything swirling around us, the hot mess of division, it is on all of us, to quote an incredible songwriter who just happened to be born in my state, to ensure that our nation's democracy is our shelter from the storm. There's a reason this ceremony takes place at the Capitol. In other countries, it might be in a presidential palace or a gilded executive office building. Here, it is traditionally held at the Capitol, the People's House. It is a fitting reminder of the system of checks and balances that is the very foundation of our government, 3 equal branches of government. That is how, for nearly 250 years, our great American experiment, grounded in the rule of law, has endured. So, as we inaugurate a new president and vice president, let us remember that the power of those in this room comes from the people, the construction workers who build our country, the teachers and healthcare workers who nurture us, the troops defending our freedoms, and yes, the firefighters in Los Angeles putting themselves on the line for us.
Yeah, how about the governor puts some water in the hydrants for them? You stupid moron. By the way, this is the same rotunda where the lectern guy stole his lectern.
Our democracy's strength
time to be
and
alive.
grit must match theirs. May God bless our nation. Thank you.
For the person who said, Viva, move your head, I can't toggle the screen out of the bottom left. I don't think. Is there a way to... No, that's not the right thing. Why would you make me do that? This? No, that's not gonna... Don't make me change things. I'm using Rumble Studio. I don't think I can move the screen yet.
Good afternoon.
Oh, it's morning still.
Endurance through the years
embarrassing.
is the ultimate test. To persevere through time is the truest measure of an idea, an institution, and a nation. Our founders wrote the Constitution so that America could withstand all the twists and turns of time. They wrote it to guide us and to preserve forever our right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But as much as the truths and principles enshrined in our Constitution remain the same, our democracy promises the American people the power to change, to chart their own destiny. That's the beauty. That is the importance of democracy. It allows the endurance, the permanence of a nation through change. It allows nations like our United States both to avoid the obstacles and to seize the opportunities God has placed before us, all while staying true to our founding principles. Today is our country's 60th inauguration ceremony. Like all the others before it, it is a celebration of our right to set our uniquely American course. The past several years have been trying at times for many, many Americans, and also for the nations of the free world that we humbly strive to lead. In November, Americans chose again to steer this nation towards greatness, the secure, safe, and prosperous future that our founders envisioned for all of us. And today,
Look at Kamala, people.
we celebrate not only their decision to do so, but also the simple right and wisdom of a free people to make their own choice so that their nation might endure. And now, allow me to welcome Archbishop Timothy Dolan and Reverend Franklin Graham, who will deliver our invocation. Please rise.
So, by the way, I just got word, I mean, obviously because of the markets, but apparently Biden just pardoned his entire family, pretty much. Let me just make sure about the details on this. Biden, it was obviously before he went, but...
Be still and
entire
know that
family,
I am
uncles and all.
God, supreme among the nations, supreme on the earth. Let us pray. Remembering General George Washington on his knees at Valley Forge, recalling Abraham Lincoln at his second inaugural, with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right. Remembering General George Patton's instructions to his soldiers as they began the Battle of the Bulge 8 decades ago: pray, pray when fighting, pray alone, pray with others, pray by night, pray by day. Observing the birthday of the Reverend Martin Luther King, who warned, without God, our efforts turn to ashes. We, blessed citizens of this one nation under God, humbled by our claim that in God we trust, gather indeed this Inauguration Day to pray for our President Donald J. Trump, his family, his advisors, his cabinet, his aspirations, his vice president, for the Lord's blessings upon Joseph Biden, for our men and women in uniform, for each other whose hopes are stoked this new year, this Inauguration Day. We cannot err in relying upon that prayer from the Bible, upon which our president will soon place his hand in oath, as we make our own the supplications of King Solomon for wisdom as he began his governance. God of our fathers, in your wisdom you set man to govern your creatures, to govern in holiness and justice, to render justice with integrity. Give our leader wisdom, for he is your servant, aware of his own weakness and brevity of life. If wisdom which comes not from you be not with him, he shall be held in no esteem. Send wisdom from heavens, that she may be with him, that he may know your designs. Please, God, bless America. Please mend her every flaw. You are the God in whom we trust, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen.
Mr. President, the last 4 years, there are times I'm sure you thought it was pretty dark. But look what God has done. We praise him and give him glory. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, thou hast said, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. As the prophet Daniel prayed, blessed be the name of God forever and ever. For wisdom and might are his. He changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings. He raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. Our Father, today, as President Donald J. Trump takes the oath of office once again, we come to say thank you, O Lord our God. Father, when Donald Trump's enemies thought he was down and out, you and you alone saved his life and raised him up with strength and power by your mighty hand. We pray for President Trump, that you'll watch over, protect, guide, direct him. Give him your wisdom from your throne on high. We ask that you would bless him and that our nation would be blessed through him. We also ask that you would bless and protect Melania as First Lady. We thank you for the beauty, the warmth, and grace that she shows not only to this nation, but to the whole world. We thank you for Vice President-elect J.D. Vance and his wife Usha and their young family. May he be a strength to President Trump, to stand beside him, to hold up his arms like Aaron held up the arms of Moses in the midst of battle. The prophet Samuel reminded the people, it was you that brought them up from the land of Egypt. And he said, now stand still, that I may reason with you before the Lord. So, Father, we take this moment to stand still, to remember the great things that you have done for this nation. Thank you for the protection, the bounty, the freedoms that we so enjoy. We remember to keep our eyes fixed on you. And may our hearts be inclined to your voice. We know that America can never be great again if we turn our backs on you. We ask for your help, and we pray all of this in the name of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, your Son, my Savior, and our Redeemer, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Associate Justice Kavanaugh to administer the Vice Presidential Oath of Office.
Okay, who's this kid? This kid has no idea where these are JD's kids. Dude, I'm certain that when I was in Milwaukee, we went to the zoo and I saw two kids with what was clearly Secret Service protection around them with a woman, and I'm sure it was them at the Milwaukee Zoo during the RNC. It was during the summer. Right, it was the RNC convention, and I went to the zoo with my wife and kids, or some zoo-like thing.
Please raise your right hand.
I'm sure it was those kids.
And repeat after me. I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies,
especially
foreign
domestic.
and domestic.
That I will bear true faith.
That I will bear true faith.
And allegiance to the same.
And allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Testify, JD.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
On which I am about to enter.
On which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
Booyah. I didn't realize his middle name was David. Now I feel like I have an even more special connection to JD Vance. James, geez, now what was his first name? Jeez Louise, what was his first name? These two are going to get it done. Lip readers, what did Trump just say to him?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Justice Roberts to administer the Presidential Oath of Office.
Oh my goodness, people. Can you imagine the culmination of events that has led us here today?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Amen. It's the end. Can you compare these two gentlemen? Compare Joe Biden to Donald John Trump. Hallelujah is right. I hope that's just gunpowder. I'm joking. It's obviously only gunpowder, people. That is DC. Look at this. Can you believe what the world has gone through since 2016, 2020, 2021? This is the culmination of the so-called insurrection. Democracy re-electing the person who had it taken from them in 2020. Where'd the 6+ million votes go, Kamala? My goodness. So that's it. That is it. It is Trump 47, people. Trump 47. This doesn't fit on my head with the headphones on, so. So now what happens? So now he's going to go sign some executive orders. We're going to see what's what's in the markets for the expectation of executive orders. Biden is out, people. The evil empire has been defeated and replaced. Look at Joe Biden compared to Donald Trump. 2 years older. This might as well be like two alternate. What's he doing with his hands? Glory, hallelujah. Okay, come on. You don't even have to like this kind of music to find this awesome. I love how they're doing the screenshot juxtaposing what was and what will be. Lord.
The beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea.
The acoustics have to be amazing. This man knows that he's got to change America now and bring it back.
As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free while God is marching on.
Hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Fantastic. Compare this administration, not just Trump and JD, but their respective spouses, partners, families, members of their cabinets. Just compare it. It's like comparing a circus to the Olympics. Okay, let's see what goes on now.
It is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Oh my goodness. Apparently it got bad enough for even some Democrats. They brought Trump back after that 46 debacle. Look at Joe Biden. Look at him now. Look at Kamala Harris. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scream. Look at when we can. Look not at center stage. Look at Joe Biden's coughing because he's had COPD for the last 2 years. Not even making fun, just saying that man was old and decrepit.
Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now.
Testify. Look, keep an eye on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. and other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history.
It's kind of an understatement.
And I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
Wait until they get mad at him for saying that he was saved by God. Trump, the megalomaniac, thinks that he was saved by God. I agree with him. He was. No other explanation for what we witnessed on that day.
Thank you very much.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are not clapping those SOBs scumbags.
That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Just wait for the media to yell at Trump for keeping too many of his presidential promises. Drill, baby, drill. Let's see. Is Elon cheering that one on? Bada bing, bada boom, it's a joke. There's room for both in this world. Compare him to Biden.
America will be a manufacturing nation once again, And we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
They're going to zoom in on, they got to zoom in on Elon for this. Okay, so we got JD standing up.
In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Just going to go check the price on Dogecoin right now.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Oh, God. Triggered. There are now people screaming on the streets of D.C. No! Oh, my goodness. Well, that's going to piss some people off. Basic biology,
This week,
people.
I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, good for them.
will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Mm-hmm. Compare this to... I'm going to get to all the tipped questions and super chat questions afterwards. Rumble rants.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
472 days. In captivity of unimaginable.
Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together, we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. and we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken.
The question now is, I guess, is this going to be the longest inauguration speech in American history? He's going to show Biden what a man can do.
Proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again. including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill, we will be prosperous, we will be proud, we will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered, we will not be intimidated, we will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely, we will live proudly, we will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Just catching up because I had to go
Ladies and gentlemen,
relieve myself. Not that anybody cares. Entering
please welcome the Armed Forces
the new
Chorus
golden
and
age of
Carrie
America.
Underwood.
Amazing. Oh, Carrie Underwood, who's taken some hate now for accepting perhaps the greatest honor ever. Carrie Underwood's amazing. I don't even like necessarily that type of music, but she's got an amazing voice. I remember watching American Idol when she was on. Yeah, Prairie Factualist said Canada tariffs not mentioned even once. We're going to get to a lot of the chat afterwards. The golden age has just begun. Testify. Hold on. Carrie Underwood was on American Idol. I'm not getting a mistake, right? I'm not making a mistake. Carrie Underwood, American Idol. Something happening? Okay, it's not on my end. Yeah, she was indeed a contestant on American Idol. In 2005, I remember we used to watch American Idol with my parents. It would be like the Sunday night thing. Was it Sunday or Thursday? Dexter was Sunday night. We used to go over to my parents' place to watch Dexter. Episode by episode, the greatest series. Tied with Breaking Bad, but I think I liked the first 4 seasons of Dexter better than all of Breaking Bad, but all of Breaking Bad was better than Dexter because Dexter really sucked it up towards the last 2 seasons. So what's going on? I'm telling you, he looks damn good. Damn good. 79 years old. Sharp as a tack. That is sharp as a tack. Not that slow Joe to his left. To his left. To his left. JD's kids. What is it?
The words help me out here.
Were the bomb.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Simon Cowell sitting at home saying, that was absolutely glorious, Carrie. Started off slow and then really hit home towards the end. Golden buzzer. I'm crying. Hold on a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Fisher will now introduce the benediction clergy.
I now call on Rabbi Ari Berman, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, and Reverend Frank Mund to provide prayers of benediction.
Let us pray. Almighty God, your prophet Jeremiah walked the streets of Jerusalem and blessed its inhabitants with the Hebrew words, Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach BaHashem. Blessed is the one who trusts in God. Thousands of years later, this great nation, which adopted these words as its motto, "In God we trust," stands at a moment of historic opportunity. Americans are searching for meaning. Our merciful Father, help us rise to meet this moment. Bless President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance with the strength and courage to choose the right and the good. Unite us around our foundational biblical values of life and liberty, of service and sacrifice, and especially of faith and morality, which George Washington called the indispensable supports of American prosperity. Guide our schools and college campuses, which have been experiencing such unrest, to inspire the next generation to pair progress with purpose, knowledge with wisdom, and truth with virtue. Hear the cry of the hostages, both American and Israeli, whose pain our president so acutely feels. We are so thankful for the 3 young women who yesterday returned home, and pray that the next 4 years brings peace to Israel and throughout the Middle East. Almighty God, grant all Americans the opportunity to realize our shared dream of a life filled with peace and plenty, health and happiness, compassion and contribution. Stir within us the confidence to rise to this moment. For while we trust in God, God's trust is in us, the American people. America is called to greatness, to be a beacon of light and a mover of history. May our nation merit the fulfillment of Jeremiah's blessing, that like a tree planted by water, we shall not cease to bear fruit. May all of humanity experience your love and your blessing. May it be thy will, and let us say, Amen.
Let us pray for our 47th president. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have called him for such a time as this.
A millimeter miracle.
That America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We pray that you use our president, that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, We believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous hilltops of California. But God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Almighty and eternal God, we gather here today in reverence, joined in our shared hopes and dreams for our beloved nation. In this sacred moment of the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, we turn our hearts to you, seeking your divine assistance and abundant blessings upon this pivotal moment in history. We come before you with profound gratitude for the many gifts you have bestowed upon our land. Thank you for the freedoms we cherish, for the strength of our communities, and for the resilience of our spirit. As our President and Vice President embrace their newly appointed roles, we humbly implore that your everlasting love and wisdom will envelop them. Grant them the clarity of mind to navigate the challenges that lie ahead and the compassion to serve all citizens with fairness and integrity. May their hearts be filled with a giving spirit and sincere understanding for those whom they represent. May they be beacons of hope in times of uncertainty and prophetic voices in defending the dignity of all created life. We pray for a spirit of collaboration to flourish in our government and across our nation, fostering an environment where dialogue and heartfelt listening will prevail over division or discord. May each decision made by our President and Vice President reflect the values of justice and peace. As we embark on this new chapter, we also seek your comfort, O God, for those who feel lost or disheartened. In this time of transition, may your light shine upon them, reaffirming their belief in a brighter tomorrow. May we all strive to lift one another, supporting our fellow citizens with kindness and empathy, recognizing that together we can overcome any adversity. Grant us the strength to endure, the courage to face our fears, and the clarity to see the light that remains, even when clouds of uncertainty may gather. Inspire our new leaders to be champions for the vulnerable and advocates for those whose voices are often silenced. May they pursue policies that promote the well-being of all, seeking to build bridges that will foster unity and belonging. As we stand witness to this inauguration, we hold fast to our faith in the goodness of each of us and the possibility of change. We trust that with your guidance, O God, our nation can move forward to a future filled with promise, prosperity, and understanding. And finally, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the beloved parents of President Trump. Without Mary and Fred Trump, this day would never be the miracle that has just begun. From their place in heaven, may they shield their son from all harm by their loving protection, and give him the strength to guide our nation along the path that will make America great again. Let us go forth now with these words of President Trump's emblazoned on our hearts. As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. We stand tall, we stand proud, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God, and to God alone. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose much trumps and bright stars through the perilous fight, while the ramparts wavered were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket eagerly, heaven's bursting in earth, give proof to the night that our flag is still there. Oh, sailors and partakers, and the
That's incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I'm not stealing the joke because I have the same joke as someone else, but a rabbi, a pastor, and a reverend give an inauguration speech. Bada bing, bada boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats while the president and official party depart the platform.
Okay, so now the inauguration is over. All of Biden's parties have been issued. They've been issued. And we haven't learned about them yet. We will, I guess. I don't know if they have to be disclosed immediately, but there's been some developments as we've been live, people. Okay, so now they're leaving. By the way, did I tell you all the time that I introduced President Trump to the panel crowd at Mar-a-Lago? Yes, it was a very surprisingly honorable day. So now they're going to leave. The question is, the next question, how many executive orders is Trump going to sign today? And unlike Joe Biden, he will know what's inside of them. I tweeted out earlier today, joking, like, oh my goodness, Joe Biden didn't pardon his brother. This was after Fauci, Liz Cheney, Kinzinger, Thompson, like the whole slew of criminals got pardons. And lo and behold, shortly thereafter, a pardon.
And the
all of his
second
family.
Trump administration is now an hour old, and those were the opening notes. You can see the presidents and former presidents are leaving the Capitol Rotunda, the first time that the inauguration has taken place there since 1985 and Ronald Reagan. So once the dais is cleared, the next thing on the agenda
executive orders
for President Trump and former President Biden is for the Trumps to say goodbye to the Bidens on the East Front. The Bidens will get into Marine One, the helicopter, and they will fly to Andrews Air Force Base, where there will be another ceremony for former President Biden. President Trump has several hours still at the Capitol before he goes off to Capital One Arena, where a truncated parade will take place, and an executive signing ceremony as well. Looks like he'll be returning to the White House at about 5 p.m. this afternoon after he speaks to supporters at Capital One Arena. Before he leaves the Capitol today, he will visit the overflow crowd. About 800 guests were in the rotunda. About 1,300 are in the overflow crowd in Emancipation Hall. That's in the adjacent Capitol Visitor Center. He'll go and make remarks and greet those folks down there. There'll be a congressional lunch. There'll be a congressional signing ceremony. And that's the afternoon. That will take about until 3 p.m. Then he'll go to Capital One for a truncated parade and then return to the White House at a
truncated parade.
So that's what's coming up this afternoon, all live on C-SPAN. A reminder, all events on C-SPAN 2 are without commentary, and you can watch just the events happening there.
Let's do that so we don't have to hear this guy as we talk about what's coming for the rest of the day. Well, that's amazing, people. Oh, what did he just say?
Where am I going? Do we want to watch Matlock?
No, honey, that's later tonight. Now we have a part 2 of a truncated parade. Okay, so I'm gonna. Is there a way to rotate this so that we're not missing anything, people? I'm just gonna see if I can figure out a way to solo duo presentation. Okay, so it seems that this is the only way we can do it. If I just lower the volume, we want to keep this going in the backdrop.
You can see the Trump family, and that is President Trump's father-in-law there on your screen, and that is J.D. Vance's mother at the bottom of the screen with the blonde hair and the glasses. And they will be departing soon. The Trumps and the Bidens will be heading out to the east front of the Capitol in just a second, and the Bidens will fly off in Marine One. That's the east front as we speak. But while we're waiting for them to come out, let's check in with John McCardle and see if there's any news.
Well,
Peter, it was the longest inaugural address in the modern political era.
I called it.
It was just under 30 minutes long, 29 minutes and 48 seconds, according to the official C-SPAN.
I'm going to go to
count
C-SPAN too, because I don't think we
C-SPAN's
want to hear
Jeremy
this
Art. Let me show you his chart going back to FDR in 1933. You can see the lengths in minutes and seconds of each inaugural address. Donald Trump's inaugural address this year was almost twice as long as his inaugural address back in 2017 when he became the 45th president. It was about 9 minutes longer than Joe
Biden. I can't seem to find any C-SPAN without commentary.
Inaugural address at 21 minutes.
Has this sheet been around since 1933? Like they keep the same pen?
In 1997, forgive me, at almost 22 minutes. On social media, congratulations pouring in from around the globe for the 47th
Do we care to listen
president
to
of
this?
the United States. I want to show you some of the world leaders sending out their congratulations. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister.
Go to hell, Keir Starmer.
The United Kingdom. On behalf of the United Kingdom, I send my warmest congratulations to President Donald Trump on his inauguration, saying the special relationship between the UK and the US will continue to flourish for years to come. This is Narendra Modi the Prime Minister of India. Congratulations,
I don't know
my
enough
dear
about
friend,
Narendra
President
Modi
Donald
to make
Trump,
any comments.
on your historic inauguration. I look forward to working
We
closely
all agree.
together.
Turn this crap off.
Once again, to benefit both our
What I'll
countries
do
and
is this.
shape a
I'm gonna go
better
like
future.
I'll keep it. Well, let's hear what Netanyahu has to say.
Netanyahu saying, Sarah and I send our warmest wishes to you, Melania, and the American people on the second inauguration as president of the United States. And then one more from social media to show you. It was right as President Trump was giving the oath of office that the White House website officially changed over. And this is what you will see if you go to whitehouse.gov.
The only thing that would have made this better is if you had in the background Joe Biden with his back walking away, looking over his shoulder at Trump.
With every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's the promise right now.
It's amazing.
At whitehouse.gov.
All right, well, we're going to put this on, I think we're going to put it on mute. I'm just going to take it out and get to some of the chat. F Bibi, Jews are okay. I hate Bibi, says Mad Max. I don't care for Benjamin Netanyahu either, but it's incredible. Let me see where Barnes is. If Barnes is coming in. Okay. So this is wild. I'm going to see. There's a guy that I know, Pantelis, who's in DC now. He's taking over my ticket, my +1 to the Rumble after party tonight. But he's at the Pasobic live stream event at a hotel, and everybody's there. Neerman is there. Lectern guy is there. Can you appreciate that Lectern guy, Adam Johnson, is watching that inauguration, and the rotunda that they are inaugurating President Donald Trump in is the same rotunda where Lectern guy was falsely, wrongfully, and maliciously accused of having stolen the lectern. That was the same rotunda. The infamous picture heard around the world. Let's pull it up here. We got to get the Lectern guy picture. He's looking at the very same rotunda that this picture was shot in. The one that altered the trajectory of his life. He spent 75 days in detention. Some of it was solitary. Because of this picture. Stealing a lectern where he only moved at 20 feet, took that picture, and became the icon, the image of the January 6th erection, if you ask Chuck Schumer. And he's watching this now. I mean, he's not there, but he's watching this now. Trump, 4 years plus 2 weeks after that bullshit non-insurrection. And he's in there. He's watching Donald Trump in that very same rotunda, becoming the 47th president of these United States of America. Surreal is not the word for it. Can you imagine that it's Donald Trump now, the man who's been demonized and compared to Hitler for nearly a decade? After he walked down that escalator and became public enemy number one to the Democrats, a man who was the most beloved man in real estate and entertainment for the better part of his life. Everything that he's gone, and he's not through anything yet. He's in now, he's got his second administration, and thank God that it came. It's going to be better for America that it comes in 2025 than had it come in 2021. Ironically enough, America, it got bad enough for many Americans, and now they've finally seen, the comparison between a criminally corrupt administration and a bona fide competent administration. You went from peace and prosperity, relatively speaking, to war and impoverishment, infiltration of a nation, corruption of the highest order. We're going to get into the Biden pardons, the Biden pardons, because now it's done. I think they've all been reported. I was only wondering if there have been some that might yet be reported, but still having been signed prior to Biden leaving office. It got bad enough for enough Americans that Trump won with more votes than he got in 2020, and somehow Kamala Harris got 6+ million less votes than Joe Biden got in 2020. Joe Biden, an old, decrepit white dude, got more votes than Obama. Oh yeah, but the population grew in that time. I don't know, maybe. 6.5 million votes disappeared from 2020 to 2024, and yet Trump got more in 2024 than he did in 2020. Make it make sense, except for the fact that 2020 was stolen. And you never know how this plays out because it's a marathon, and you never know what end of one chapter is actually the beginning of the second volume. We're beginning the second volume now, beginning it on a good foot, on a good note. What I wanted to do, before getting into the chats, let me just make sure. I want to bring up. I want to see. We gotta. I hope people didn't sell their Jim Biden when it tanked this morning after Joe Biden issued his pardons. President Biden preemptive pardons. No, that's not the right one. Pardons. When Biden issued certain pardons this morning, and he didn't issue others, Jim Biden's stock tanked. And if people sold it before he announced, oh yeah, I've also pardoned my brother and my entire family. Who will Biden pardon? So it looks like there's only a few left that have not been confirmed to not be. Oh, you know what? When I'm logged out, I can't see who has been pardoned. Well, let's just go over it. Who's been pardoned, by the way? Jim Biden, his brother, aunt, uncle. I want to get the exact list of this because a number of people were posting the official presidential pardon. Let's go pardon Biden. Because it's not just Jim. Here we go. I don't know who this person is, but let me just bring it up anyhow. Bring this down and bring this up. We got the seal of the president, which no longer belongs to demented Joe. Executive grant of clemency, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, former, the worst one ever. To all whom these presidents shall come. Hold on a second. Make sure that the kids don't get in here. To all those, be it known that on this day, Joseph Biden, President of the United States, pursuant to my powers under Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, have granted unto James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, Francis W. Biden, a full and unconditional pardon for any non-violent offenses against the United States which they may have committed or taken part in during the period of a freaking decade plus, people. 11 years. 11 years and 19 days to be exact. Unfreaking believable. And so and it's just, I don't know how many he's up to now. The only ones that we're waiting for is whether or not there have been any unannounced pardons, because I still see on the Kalshi market, it's open for Leticia James and Joe Biden himself. So we'll see about that. He pardoned Fauci. He pardoned Liz Cheney, Kinzinger, Benny Thompson. He pardoned basically, I think, anybody who testified or participated in the January 6th kangaroo court sham of a committee. And it'll piss people off if they didn't, somehow manage to place a bet on it. If you were following Robert Barnes' sports picks, you might have made some money off of the corruption that is the Biden administration. But the one that pisses most people off is the Anthony Fauci, Tony Fauci, Dr. Death, as far as I might want to call him now, who got a pardon. And my take, which I put out on Twitter, and I think it resounded or reverberated with people, that's the one that bothers me the least. Because you can't pardon for state crimes, and you can't pardon for crimes against humanity. And I've got my personal opinion is that Fauci is guilty of both. There is absolutely zero question that Fauci has criminal exposure at a state level, and there's absolutely zero question that he has criminal exposure at an international level. So good. Enjoy your federal pardon for federal crimes that you may or may not have committed. What did Fauci say about it? Let me be perfectly clear. Fauci pardon. Let me see if I can get his statement. This is all. This is all breaking news, but I want to see what Fauci issued a statement. I would like to be perfectly clear that, let me see. I know if I put in the word clear, I'll get it. And by the way, whenever someone says clear, you know you're about to get lied to. Oh, here we go. Here, I got it here. This is Jonathan Carl. Do I know who this person is? I don't know who this person is, but I know the statement. Let me bring up the statement so we can hear what a liar sounds like when they talk. Dr. Anthony Fauci tells me he appreciates the pardon, but he committed no crime. Jonathan Carl, ABC News chief. All right, so All right, whatever, ABC propaganda. Quote, I truly appreciate the action President Biden has taken today on my behalf. Let me be perfectly clear, John. I have committed no crime. You know that. And there are no possible grounds for any allegation or threat of criminal investigation or prosecution on me. But I need a part. President Fauci, Dr. Fauci said he's grateful because the threats and possibility of a politically motivated prosecution, quote, creates an immeasurable and intolerable stress on me and my family. If you prosecute me, you are prosecuting science. Oh, hold on a second, guys. We got the helicopter coming. Yeah, let's see what's going on here.
Will occur this afternoon. Of course, we will be live with that as well. But coming up at the Capitol after the Bidens take off for Andrews Air Force Base and fly to Santa Barbara,
I flew in a helicopter
be a presidential
once
visit to the overflow
on my honeymoon
crowd.
with my wife.
About 1,300
over a Hawaiian
more
volcano.
people
Doors off. It
were
was amazing.
in Emancipation Hall, which
don't
is
think I
at
do it again.
Congressional
You see how the
Visitor
blades
Center
are curved and then
adjacent to the
they
Capitol.
pull themselves out straight.
President
as
will
it
do
starts
some
to,
signing.
gain
We'll find
momentum.
out what that's about, and then he will attend a congressional luncheon and a review of the troops before he departs the Capitol today. Predicted about 3:30 p.m. before he gets out of there. So we will be back with our guest, Jeffrey Engel of Southern Methodist University. We'll talk about some of this afternoon's events, and we'll also be checking the news with John McCardle as we go. But let's watch Marine One take off.
Let us watch a helicopter take off, people. That is pretty flipping cool. What movie was it where they had planes that flew like dragonflies? It wasn't Starship Troopers. There was a science fiction, one of those adventure films where the technological advance of the future was that planes flew like dragonflies, which I said was seemingly unnecessarily complicated. It was Dune? Okay, Thomas 10,000 said Dune. Yeah. I didn't finish the movie. I didn't like Dune, at the risk of pissing off a large swath of our viewership right now. I found it very boring. Dune. Holy cow, so there's a lot of people who watched Dune in that movie in the crowd. The coolest thing that I've been in by way of aviation devices was a hot air balloon in Vegas for the GoPro. When I won that GoPro $1 Million Challenge Award, it wasn't $1 million, but everyone got a share of $1 million. I've got like $18,000 back in 2018, and I went in a hot air balloon where the people in the balloon jumped out of the balloon to do some skydiving. I'll send everybody the link. I made together a vlog about it back in the day. Dune was and always has been boring. Okay, good. Yeah, because the guy who did Dune apparently did Interstellar. Are they the same directors? I think that was what someone sold me on it. Who directed Dune remake? Denis Villeneuve. No, it wasn't Denis Villeneuve. Someone told me that if I liked Interstellar, I would love Dune.
Not bad, huh?
I did not like Dune. Oh, the Jan 6th. Oh, Chance Upmore's in the house. Everybody, Chance Upmore.
And the Bidens are off to Andrews Air Force Base. There will be a small ceremony there as well with the Bidens.
Okay, we don't care about that. Chance Upmore, who has been on the channel, one of the January 6th persecution victims who, although didn't suffer nefarious consequences from the January 6th stuff, got caught up on incidental charges, which proved more problematic as a result of the search and seizure that they carried out as a result of the Jan 6 bogus persecution. Chance, Godspeed and God bless, and may it end the way it should today in terms of how many people Trump is going to pardon. I want to see that. This is very interesting. Biden now, his stock or his odds on Kalshi are up to 15%, which is, causing me to question whether or not he didn't pardon himself and he just hasn't released that information to the public yet. I don't know what the rules are on issuing pardons. Like, does he have to issue the pardon? Does he have to disclose the pardon before he leaves office? Oh, and look what my wife is out with the kids now because we're doing this. Look what like I said the other day, there's no such thing as leftover bacon. That looks freaking delicious. I don't know where they are, but I am jealous. Let me see, based on the tabletop. Oh, they're at Oh, they're at a burger place. I know where they are based on the metal scraped tabletop. That looks damn good. So Biden's stock now seems to be at, it's back down to 10%. Whatever. We'll see if he pardoned himself and if he pardoned Trump. It would be so, I don't know, like, if anybody in the chat knows, does he have to disclose the pardons before he leaves office? Is it just unfeasible for the media to go through his documents of pardons? All right, well, let's get to some of the chat before we get too far behind here. Oh, there was a couple of CommieTube Rumble rants, which I'll get to in a bit. Let's go to the slew of rants over on Rumble, and we will get to vivabarneslaw.locals.com immediately after that. Okay, that's from the beginning. There we go. That's what I want to see. Chance up more. I got that one. Spudman WP says Trump's pledge to reinstate soldiers who were discharged due to refusal to get the Fauci ouchie should also include all federal employees. This is a start. And I say, like, vindication for the people who've had their lives ruined as a result of their righteous medical decision. Ginger Ninja says he doesn't have to. Ginger Ninja said he doesn't have his hair covering his right ear, only his left. You can see the white cartilage above and below where the bullet cut through the edge of his ear. Yep, no, we people were doing the zoom in on his presidential photo, comparing it 2024 to 2016, and I assume where he got hit was up on the upper part, midsection of the cartilage, and I see a difference there. Efit says, Viva, you're doing a fantastic job with this live stream, not talking too much but adding color. No, this one I was just curious to hear what they had to say. Everybody knows that I tend to talk too much during live streams or these live stream events, because I get bored easily, but I wanted to hear what he had to say, and it's a miracle what we witnessed today. Nothing shy of it. Rivka the Jade, that was from Efits. Rivka the Jade Gamer says, I believe that goes to Harrison, who caught pneumonia at his inauguration and then died 32 days into his term. I just remember the song from The Simpsons. I died in 30 days. That was when Lisa went to Washington? Thank you, Viva. Glad you are here in the U.S. Kim 737, as am I. If for every reason, but if the weather were the only reason, that would be one heck of a reason. But the freedom smells good when you wake up in the morning, and it's a place to wage. It's a place to fight the battle and to have a big mouth, because the First Amendment in America is actually respected like a God-given right, and the First Amendment in Canada doesn't exist. You got freedom of speech, except in as much as can be reasonably compromised in a fair and democratic society for the greater good, and blah, blah, blah. And England, you don't have freedom of speech anymore. King of Biltong says, start your health journey by adding some tasty high-protein meat snacks. Biltong is packed with B12, iron, zinc, creatine, and more. Get some at biltongusa.com. Use code VIVA for 10% off. And can states still prosecute Fauci? Yes, they can. Absolutely. I mean, Texas went after Fauci. No, Texas didn't go after Fauci. Sorry, Texas went after Pfizer, and they got it dismissed on PrEP Act. Let me have to think about the legal theory as to what would be the state charges that could be leveled against Fauci. I mean, misinformation that prejudices a state resident. I don't know. It's not even like to think creatively and think maliciously. Undoubtedly, there are state charges that can be brought, and there are crimes against humanity that can be brought. Mac Grendel says, hoping DJT pardons the Jan 6ers, of course, but that he also pardons them for all the things since January 1st, 2014, a poke in the eye. The January 6th pardon watch has begun. Okay, good. We got all of that. Oh, that's so cool. Let's get over to locals and see. We had a lot of tipped questions, and we have a lot of other commentary going on there. Okay, Jedi Bower 1971 says, check out the White House website. Yeah, we saw that. It's amazing. It is get the out. Like it's Jeremy Piven. Hey, thanks, Joe, for screwing up America. Get the out. We got to clean up now. And we will clean up now. Okay. The question is, what is Trump going to do with the pardons? I'm very, very curious to see how many people he pardons, who he pardons specifically. Jedi Bower 1971. Oh, let me see. I can do like this here. Okay, there we go. I can do that. This way we can actually read along at the same time with our Viva Barnes Law.locals.com community. And now we know who is corrupt, says that one again. It's amazing. It's amazing. His entire family. That's it. At least the crime legacy is done. Then we got Schnookums says we need to rename January 6th to the world's worst example of an insurrection. No, we'll call it Patriot Day, Freedom Day. January 6th and what they tried to make of January 6th is what led to January 20th, 2025. It's what led to November 4th, 5th. What day was the election? November 5th. It's what led to the election of Donald Trump. They thought they were weaponizing January 6th against Republicans, and they weaponized it to motivate Americans to get the criminals out of the office. Patriot Day sounds good. Ithaca 37 Cato says time for Majbra, make American justice system Robert Barnes again. The only one with the Majbra, that sounds like, what was that thing that we saw yesterday that I never knew existed? It had something to do with child and adult relation, improper. It was a. I don't even want to know what the acronym was because I've forgotten it. And I'm happy to have forgotten it, but it looked too much like that. So Ithaca 37 Cato, I appreciate the effort. We got to make that acronym not look like the other acronym for pedos. Ithaca 37 Cato says time for the Trump DOJ to file civil rights lawsuits in civil courts against the Biden crime family. Start with Leticia James. Oh, so notably, who did not get a pardon from Trump's pardon-a-thon. Leticia James didn't get one. Jack Smith didn't get one unless they haven't disclosed it yet. Ed Snowden didn't get one. Ipe Mizuhara, who was convicted of fraud against the baseball player, didn't get one. I don't even know why he was on the list. Bob Menendez didn't get one. Martha Stewart, don't know why. Sean Diddy. Michael Cohen didn't get one. Suck a lemon, Michael Cohen. Thought by kissing the ring of the devil that he'd get some sort of blessing from the devil. What did you learn? Nothing, because you're an idiot, Cohen. Anthony Weiner didn't get one. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't get one. Eric Adams didn't get one. Adams might get one from Trump. They have overlapping lists. Elizabeth Holmes didn't get one. Leticia James didn't get one. E. Jean Carroll, I don't even know why she would have needed one. We're talking federal stuff here. Although civil rights violations, I guess, are federal, so maybe they all should have been there. Joe Biden is still up. Sam Bankman-Fried didn't get one. Donald Trump didn't get one that we know of. Avenatti, Bragg, Mershon didn't get one. That was surprising. Ross Ulbricht didn't get one, but he's also on Trump's potential list. Stormy Daniels didn't get one. Mia Khalifa didn't get one. And Biden, the brother, Jim, Fauci, Schiff, Cheney, Thompson, and Kinzinger, and more, all got one. So that's the criminal syndicate right there, peeps. Let me go back over here. 37. So we got Aberg says, Viva, could you please clip and post the segment of Barnes talking about pardons? There are people who don't believe that his preemptive pardons mean anything. I want to share with them. Absolutely. I'll clip it from yesterday's show. I've got our clip guy doing, Tony is doing some great work. So I'll clip that without a doubt. Thanks, Viva. Back to biz meeting. Lunch was great. Thanks for hosting, says Garhet. Then we got Ithaca 37 Cato. Biden wasn't mouthing the national. He was mouthing the musical cabaret song. Money, money makes the world go round. Not bad. He was just mumbling to himself. God damn, these little kids, get off my lawn. I done just pooped my pants. Mighty Pay says, thanks for the stream and chat. Viva, God bless the USA. Here's to better times ahead. From your mouth to God's ears, but we feel it. I mean, you feel it already. Can you imagine what we've just this election cycle? Set aside the last 4 years. Set aside the last 8 years. This election cycle, in and of itself, tumultuous is not the word. Like earth-shattering. What a time to be alive. May you live in interesting times, and we sure as hell do. And now it's time to clean freaking house. We'll see when he gets up. Oh. Trump is talking. Here, sorry. Stupid me.
I only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along?
Totally uniform. Okay, let's watch this.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got one negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate him. So if you have 35 people that hate you and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You could be really nasty to a couple of them at least. So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop, but he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise he's our hero because, I was with him.
Another victim of unhinged
You
Rachel
talk about
Maddow
being
violence.
shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him. You know, you never know about that. I've been with other people that were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at her watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast enough. How's he doing? Oh, I don't know. He's all right. That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. I told Steve when he finally woke up, it was a while too. The doctor told me it was the most blood
what am I watching?
used in any patient.
Robert,
They've
this
never
is
done anything
Trump
like it.
talking. Sir,
And here he is, the
how
picture
goes
of
the battle?
strength, right? And he's
Good.
Great.
Hey,
friend
so we won our bet.
with the family because of
It was
the
a
family.
good morning to wake up to.
What a job you did. It worked out pretty much better than we even thought, right? And I did have a couple of things, to say that
A
were
lot.
extremely
I mean,
controversial.
it's unclear. His entire
And
family.
between JD and Melania and anybody else that heard, please, sir, it's such a beautiful unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They said, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud and clear. No, but she said, no, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery? Was it good? But she said it's such a beautiful speech. You can't put things in there that you were going to put in. And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages, but you'll be happy because, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages. See a lot of action. And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in. They show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of I'll bring it up right now. This little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he's talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. When you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad.
Hopefully all.
Because they don't give it much.
So
And he
I was
pardoned
to
almost
change the
everybody.
name. So the
having a death
hey,
sentence. And
you
if
must have
went
woke up
through
that
the
Kalshi
crimes
account must have been going bing.
that were committed, you wouldn't even believe
It's always
the
good when
level
you can
of
make money off Biden's
violence.
corruption. If we're stuck with
The
it, we
people that
might
were
as well make
killed,
some money off
the
it
innocence
ourselves.
of people that were killed and children killed by these people, and he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, and but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And who knows what happens in the future? It's one of the worst because a lot of times they let them out early after that. They say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. It's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic, and crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I look at him. I remember years ago, he was actually on my side. And then one day, you know, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment, you know, where her father works, right? And what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false, like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter, probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking about. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me. Like, I won't say how
her style is
many years because I don't want to talk about that. But a lot of years.
He is not covered on the front.
But I had a friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around the guy with a neck about this big. And
she's not, I mean, that's just, yeah, she's.
Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But they gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff. And there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said more as many as you need, but you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000. I thought actually you mentioned more than the number of people there by a lot.
He's looking like 6'4".
We offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words,
next to Barron.
J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6.
He's 6'2", it says.
Them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen, but she's guilty as hell.
Guilty as hell. That's right. Trump.
We would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people came out on our side. And those people now, we've got to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories.
You recognize? Is that Roger Stone in there?
But seriously, I like to. I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside because it is really cold. We just went to the helicopter out of respect to something that's taken place for a long time. I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach. Now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom, actually. It's a beautiful custom. I wish we could have had a better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans and Democrats. I was with Senator Schumer. I said, Chuck, I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit because it doesn't make sense.
Don't get along with Schumer.
We literally never get a Democrat vote. They never get a Republican vote, almost. And although there is a bill coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? It's going to be a very beautiful bill. We're going to have a deciding, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill. You all know what I'm talking about. So I just want to thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these people all over. You've been our fans. There's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history for probably any country, let alone this country. You know, if somebody's running for president, and if they go out and they announce they're going to Arizona, they're going to Nevada, they're going to someplace, if you have 200 or 300 people, that would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But if you're going to go someplace, any place, any one of the swing states, any one of the other states, I mean, how about the non-swing states? We won Alabama by 48 points. We won Tennessee by massive numbers. Wyoming, we won by numbers.
Get to Iowa.
Nobody's ever seen numbers like that.
Surprise victory.
You know, places like California, we did great, but when they send out like 38 million ballots, nobody knows where the hell they're sending them, and then they come pouring back. The whole thing. You know, they passed a law in California that if you work in an election bureau and if you so much as ask for a voter ID, if you say, "Sir, ma'am, could I please look at your voter ID?" they have the right to put you in jail. You're a criminal. Can you believe that? There's only one reason that happens. They want to cheat. So they had it where voter ID wasn't accepted. But now if you even ask for it, this is seriously a bill that was just signed, passed in their legislature.
I thought you were doing gang speak to me.
And it was signed. And I think when we get things cleaned up and we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I'm going to ask the speaker to really get involved, because I think we would have won the state of California, because, you know, if you look at my numbers with Hispanic, we're at 56%, and we won the Texas border that had never been won. As the governor said, he's doing a good job, the governor, by the way, of Texas. But as the governor said, it hasn't. Oh, did I get lucky? Did I get lucky? Supposing I said, you know, he's not here, but the governor of Texas has done a terrible job. Wow, look at you. You mean we couldn't get you up in the front row? I tell you. Supposing I said, JD,
Abbott is in a
the
wheelchair.
governor of Texas, he's not doing his job. You heard what I said. See, I didn't know you were there. I said he's doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. But now you're going to have a partner that's going to work with you, because you didn't have. Not only didn't he have a partner, he had people selling the wall.
Of course, my favorite.
Right? We have a fence structure that we worked on. The governor worked on.
He's like, "Come on up." I
didn't love it, to be honest with you. I wanted a nice precast concrete, 40, 50 feet high, like a beautiful, could have been a T-shape, Y-shape. I love construction. I wanted that sucker to go up maybe 50, 60 feet. It would have looked beautiful, a nice Y shape. And they said, the problem is, sir, they climbed that like a rabbit. I said, what do you mean? No way. And they brought some of these guys out. They climbed it like, and the other thing is you hit it with acid and the thing will disintegrate. They have things for concrete. So they needed very hardened steel, very special steel. And then they needed 7,000-pound concrete inside that steel, inside that steel. And then they have a rebar that's the toughest steel made. Very hard to cut. So this is why very little is cut. I mean, it's right. And then they put a anti-climb panel on top. I hated it. I said, it's so unattractive. And I said, why would that work? I don't believe it works. And I went to watch. The Border Patrol gave a display. We had actually two sets of climbers. The guys that climb up walls with drugs on their back. I mean, they got like 60, 70 pounds of drug, and they go as fast as you can walk. They go bip, bip, bip. Or we have Mount Everest type climbers. And honestly, the drug guys were much better. I couldn't believe it. The drug guys blew them away, right? But it's true, the anti-climb panel, they couldn't get around it. They just couldn't. When you didn't have it. So sometimes you sacrifice beauty for efficiency. And we did. So we built this wall, and we built over 500 miles of wall. That's why we had such good numbers. The famous chart that came down very thankfully. The chart that came down on my right, Governor, had I not looked over there, I'm not speaking right now. You might be speaking here. You want to know the truth? You, JD, and we've got a lot of great people in this party, but I got very lucky, but we had the best numbers we've ever had. But I bought, what happens is when you fill it up, it's like water. You fill it up. Now we have 571 miles of wall. And they would always say, when we renovated a wall, so there'd be like a piece of plywood sitting there for 60 years, or a 2x4 sitting for 60 years on the ground and rotting. Because, and they'll say, you didn't build a new wall. Here we're building 50 feet up in the air, 30 feet sections, 50-foot sections, all steel, all concrete, all everything. And all, by the way, they don't even want me to say this, but what the hell, doesn't take that long time. They're all wired for all of the equipment. We put wires in everything so they can easily wire for all the different types of equipment. And if there's a doubt, we have to wire. Whenever we just look, you just find the wires all over the place up top, so we can just hook it up. We don't have to have wires on the outside, which wouldn't do too well, right? So anyway, we built an extra 200 miles of wall. And the governor wanted to buy it. He tried to buy it, and they wouldn't sell it to him. He wanted to put it up himself. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, 200 more miles. Because when you do it, now they just keep going further out, getting around. So we did an extra 200 miles, and it was all bought. And they announced that they're not going to put it up. And that's when I realized they wanted open borders, and that's when I realized that people are going to come pouring through the wall like nobody's ever seen before, but you've seen it. A lot of you are here because of that. I made it my number one issue. They all said inflation was the number one issue. I said, I disagree. I think people coming into our country from prisons and from mental institutions is a bigger issue for the people that I know. And I made it my number one. I talked about inflation too, but how many times can you say that an apple has doubled in cost? I'd say it, and I'd hit it hard, but then I go back to the fact that we don't want criminals coming into our country. We don't want the jails of every country in the world virtually being deposited into the United States. And that man had to suffer with it. And he did an unbelievable job. I'll tell you, he was a very popular governor, but now he's like an unbeatable governor because of your border policies. He was fantastic. And he really was. So. Governor Abbott is he's a great man, great leader. And, but it did make him did you do it? You didn't do that for politics. You did it because you wanted to do the right thing. But I'll tell you, it sure as hell worked for politics too. It's self-preservation, that's right. But no, because the people are demanding it. The people of Texas are demanding it. The people are demanding it all over. So anyway, we built it, and they wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let the governor use it. And other governors, they wouldn't let him use it. But he was the leader of the pack and did a great job. And then we heard about a month ago that not only wouldn't they let us use it, they were selling it. They were going to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now, 5 cents on the dollar then, but today it would cost more than twice as much to build because we bought it like 6 years ago. And it was just sitting on the ground, and that does not do well for the whole thing. But it was just sitting on the ground, and I heard about it, and I called the governor, and I called a lot of people, your attorney general. And here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less, and they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, it will cost you twice as much, so it's 200 cents on the dollar. I said, can somebody explain that to a judge? I mean, how corrupt is that? You'd think they'd say, maybe we'll sell it to you for 20 cents,
So
30 cents.
Everybody on the select
But
committee.
not 200 cents.
Even low-level staffers.
So they were going to buy something for
You know how much
5
crimes
cents,
those
and
guys
they're going to
commit.
sell it to us for a fortune. They're going to make they'd have it down in Fortune magazine, they'd put it of the deal of the year, okay? You buy something like that. But it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going forward. They couldn't care less. And they kept going forward. They knew that they were trying to sell it back to us. They would have sold it back to us. You would have ended up buying it. You would have paid probably 50, 60 cents. Who knows? But they were going to use it for scrap metal, but then they made a much better deal. They could just buy it and sell it to us for 15, 20 times what they paid. 20 times, think of it, like 20 times what they paid. And we wouldn't let it happen. And the governor with his attorney general, Ken Paxton, they made a fantastic, they're a good lawyer. He's pushed around pretty good by people, right? I said, you got a great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me. But Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually became incensed and actually called for an investigation. How could a thing like this happen? So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast. The governor will complain, sir. This is Greg Abbott, sir. Please, the wall is going up too fast. Please don't do that. You know the story about winning? No, we're going to win too much. We're winning too much. Please, stop. People always love that one. We'll do this with the wall. Governor Abbott calls, sir, the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it. No, I think you'll be very happy if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that dude and we'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas judge, right? And it was beautiful to watch. He stopped them right in their track. I mean, they were literally loading this stuff onto trucks. It was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And he wouldn't take it. So I'm so glad I mentioned that they have a really good governor in Texas.
Robert, it's possible Biden has pardoned people and we just don't know about it yet?
It sounds like a setup.
Is it possible that Biden has pardoned people but hasn't released
I said
the documents?
Right thing. Because there have been moments when I wasn't so happy with him.
Is it possible that Biden has
not
pardoned
too many,
more
I
people
can tell you
but
that.
just hasn't
So anyway,
released
it's good to see you.
That's possible,
Great.
yeah.
But I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. I recognize so many of you. It's so crazy. But this has been a long journey. This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People used to say, you're going to run for president? You're going to run? And I always said, no, I don't want. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot. And what I talked about then was the border, too. I think it probably was the number one issue for me. Back in 2015, 2016, I talked about the border. And now I talked about the border, but this border is much worse. We fixed the border. It was totally fixed. There was nothing to talk about. 2020, by the way, that election was totally rigged, but that's okay. It was a rigged election. You know, the only thing good about it, it showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent. And frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have. The bad thing about it is some bad things happen, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So, you know, that's the bad part.
Who shouldn't be in jail.
But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary. A very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better the second time in 2020. You know, we got millions more votes. We got millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time. No president has ever gotten that many more votes. I got like 9 million more than anybody else had ever gotten. And they said we lost. And because of that, I said to Melania, what do you think? And she said, you want to do this again? And had we lost, and had I thought we lost, I wouldn't do it again, because that's like the ultimate poll, right? But I knew how well we did. And this time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried like hell in the butt. They tried to do it. And around 9:02, they gave up. Last time they did bad things. At this time, they just said, yes. You know, I don't know if you saw, Mr. Speaker, in Washington, they had placards. They were all set to march. They thought it'd be closer. A gentleman asked me, a very respected gentleman asked me yesterday, how come the polls were so wrong? They showed you winning, but not in a landslide. I said, because people that are true Trumpers are so angry at the whole polling system and at the writers, the fake news, that they don't want to talk to anybody. So when you call somebody from Trump, who are you voting for? They say, it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. And that was probably 40% of the people they called. So they would discard that one, and they didn't show that. And then when the election happened, the vote came, and it was much different, much higher than we're going to win. But they really thought, they couldn't believe the one man said, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Sean was great, and the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was fantastic. But generally speaking, the head of the union was against Trump, but the union would be with us for like 80-85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The Teamsters were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump.
He's going to talk all day.
So we had a great experience. Now we have to go to work and get it done, because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn our country around, and we're going to turn it around fast. And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better, and I got to see my friend. So, Governor, take care of yourself. You call me, we'll start working. You know what that means with him? He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. And I said, how about next week? You call me, and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've done a fantastic job protecting something which it's not supposed to be for the states. And amazing job you've done. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody. And I have a first lady who's been incredible. She's been incredible. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. Those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Well, did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? Right? And then we went out to the helicopter just prior to this and said goodbye. And it's a custom. And the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No. So we all appreciate it because you've been a great first lady, a beautiful and a great first lady. And they love our first lady. JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our first lady. And they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is?
Like he hasn't
Hello,
mentioned
everybody.
Mike Johnson.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
But he's like, hey,
I
JD,
gave
remember
you
when I was
the
talking about
A-plus
this?
treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much.
Look at Melania.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's out of a 1950s
I mean, the most stylish first lady in American history by far. Most beautiful first lady. A great smile and a great sort of personality. Like normally that you don't find high-end models that are that are first ladies or anything like that. That you say that's a nice person. I really like that person. Most of the first ladies have been nasty, mean, vindictive people. If you know the backstories of them, Melania is just the opposite. She gets backstabbed. She doesn't backstab others.
Yep.
So
Bongino always talks about what a fundamentally, to the core, nasty woman Hillary Clinton was.
That's an understatement. Now that was my favorite. Remember Trump's first inauguration, where Billy Boy got caught looking at Melania. He's like, and he was trying to bite his lip.
It became a meme. I remember. I remember
Hillary's
that.
looking at him, and he's like, I don't care. I'm still gonna look at her. I'll get a chance to get so up close, honey.
Robert, I want to pick your brain on a few of the outstanding pick of the Trump bets.
But first,
here today.
shouldn't we do a celebration? how many people were predicting he was going to issue these preemptive pardons? I think we were some of the only people saying it for over a month now. A bunch of you out there probably cashing tickets on Cauchy. But you come enjoy vivabarneslaw.locals.com. You just made money on the inauguration. How many people make money on the inauguration?
What was amazing yesterday is as I'm going to bed, and I literally, Robert, I guess we can take it. I'll leave it play for a little bit more. I literally had dreams all last night about the outcome of the Cauchy investments or the markets. And I was even before going to bed when it was 50-50 on preemptive pardons, and it was like 40% or 45% on Jim Biden, Benny Thompson, and Fauci. It was like, why would anyone pick an individual that requires a preemptive pardon instead of just betting on the preemptive pardon? Because at those odds, if you get a Benny Thompson, you've gotten the preemptive pardon. So it was definitely a good morning to wake up to because
yeah, cha-ching, cha-ching. You too can cash in on the Joe Biden family corruption.
You know what I feel bad about is when they announced the first round of the pardons and it didn't include Jim Biden, then Jim Biden's stock started tanking. I was like, there's no way. I made a joke. Oh, Christmas is going to be awkward. I'm like, there's no way that he's not pardoning his brother. And then lo and behold, not just his brother, people who were not even on the
whole family. He made sure to cover the whole Biden crime family. Old Boss Hogg was going to cover Ross and everybody else in there before he got out of there.
The one thing I'm banking on right now is you go to the list and there's a few names that are not yet in, not registering. I'm wondering if Biden pardoned himself and we just don't know about it yet. Okay, so there's the name, I don't know when we get to find out, like if there's any more outstanding. Jack Smith is still registering. Juan Marchand is still registering. And then a few names, others, everybody else seems to be sort of like,
he left the DOJ people off, I think, because he didn't like how they handled it. He thought they never should have gone after his family and that they should have gone after Trump sooner and harder so that it got to trial before Election Day. These stories have leaked out. So I think that given how nasty a person Joe Biden is, it doesn't surprise me he didn't pardon anybody in the DOJ. He just pardoned the true corrupt pals, the people who coordinated. I mean, if you had doubts about whether or not COVID was a deliberate plot to undermine the Trump, at least in part, let there be no doubt after both Milley and Fauci get complete pardons. Going back to when? 2014. Well, let's see. Was there something that happened in 2014?
A little Maidan. Is it a Maidan coup or is it
the Ukraine? So why is Fauci on that list for 2014? Because Fauci was busy developing biological weapons illegally and criminally.
The tweet that I put out earlier, I was talking about before you got here, that the pardon can't protect from state charges, nor can it prevent from international charges. Then as I'm talking out loud, I can't really verbalize what the state charges could be. What state charges could Fauci reasonably be?
The same thing as a lot of the federal charges. Because now, what is it? You don't have the easy charges of the perjury. The easiest thing to charge Fauci with was perjury because he lied repeatedly to Congress. Mm-hmm. That was the main priority. That and then the federal crimes in terms of bioweapon research and development. So the question then is other misrepresentations to the public that you might could consider criminal. Yeah, I mean homicide and the rest of the state crime. Now, reckless homicide? Could you charge him with that? With something that wouldn't trigger federal immunity. That's where you're going to have some trickiness because a lot of it he can say was done within the capacity of his job. So that's where the easiest ways, but obviously no local or state government's going to prosecute him because none of them have done jack yet. I mean, it's just sad and pitiful. But yeah, a smart local prosecutor could Jim Garrison these guys like Jim Garrison did with John Kennedy's assassination.
Sorry, for the ignorance out there, what is Jim Garrison? What does that mean?
Jim Garrison was the district attorney from New Orleans who brought the case that the movie JFK is based upon in the late 1960s, saying there was a plot to kill President Kennedy. And because there was a connection to a murder plot, that's how he was able to bring people in, though he only indicted people that were native residents of Louisiana. He didn't try to charge other members of the conspiracy who are outside of Louisiana, though he could have. He would have had jurisdiction to do so. He was trying to streamline it. So if you could show something like that, then a local prosecutor could take a Jim Garrison type case against him, but it would require a Jim Garrison like courage. And the reason why they demonized and destroyed Jim Garrison's public reputation was to discourage and deter any other local prosecutor from taking any corrective action. And so far, we've seen zero corrective action by local prosecutors against the corruption of the Democratic Party. The local prosecutors have been eager to do the bidding of going after Trump. So you see with how they went after Trump, well, if there are ways for state prosecutors to go after Trump, there surely are ways state prosecutors can go after Anthony Fauci, who is responsible for the deaths of millions of people around the world. Now, the question is, will anybody have the cojones to do it? In all likelihood, the answer, unfortunately, right now is no.
Oh, man. It's so wild. I'm just waiting for them to announce Sam Bankman-Fried has been pardoned. then Robert, I will be dancing.
If he didn't, that means he didn't have the dirt. That means he had no dirt on people because or he was out of money to bribe somebody.
That's what that's what I was thinking about.
Did I nail it too? I even said when these people were going to be pardoned. I said they're going to be at the very last minute, right before Trump.
Well, I won't say that I'm not going to. I went to bed a little nervous last night. I'm like, oh, should I be doing this? This seems like a sinful behavior. If we need new kitchen cabinets, but. Robert, okay, so now that's off the table. We're going to see if there's any lingering ones that he hasn't yet announced because Trump pardon Biden's out now.
We should tell for those who don't know all the people he pardoned last night and this morning.
Okay, so let me see. We got I went through it briefly.
General Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, pardoned back to 2014. All of Biden's family members, everybody that was on the select committee of the January 6th committee. I mean, down to the janitor, anybody who had any connection at all to that committee given pardons. Not only Liz Cheney, not only Benny Thompson, but everybody and Dimwit from Illinois, the fake Tea Party Congressman Kinzinger, the all of them, but plus the staffers, that tells you how criminal that whole operation was. If you had any doubts about how criminal that operation was, look at no further than who Biden has pardoned. We now know that there was clearly a conspiracy against President Trump led by Fauci and Milley. That's why they were pardoned, and the Democrats were in on it. That the January 6th committee was about setting up the bogus lawfare. They did a lot of illicit activities. They were illicitly formed. It was the predicate by which both Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon did prison time, which is now ridiculous and absurd. But what else Trump did today? So all of them, that's who got the pardons, all of the preemptive pardons across the board to people who haven't been indicted, to his entire family, to the deep state's favorite henchmen. What did I say? I said, go to the deep state. Who will the deep state want pardoned? And that's who will get pardoned. And by golly, that's exactly who got pardoned.
No, it's everything they accused Trump of potentially doing when he was leaving office, except he didn't do it. I have to go.
Exactly. Well, in fact, even who criticized Biden on this today? Jake Tapper, of all people. Tapper was like, he started quoting Biden on Biden saying how back in 2020, Trump better not issue any preemptive pardons to any of the January 6th defendants or anybody else, and how horrendous that would be, not to family, not to political people. And then, of course, as Jake Tapper himself noted today, Biden goes and does exactly what he criticized Trump for thinking about doing. And so that gives you an idea of the scale of the corruption. But what this does is really lays the roadmap out for Trump to issue mass pardons. Aviva, I was saying at this point, Trump's got the green light to pardon everybody.
Everybody. So this is what I'm looking at. I want to get to Trump's pardons because on his list, let's not do the individuals. Number of pardons for Jan 6ers. I was just Googling to see how many non-violent there were, and it says there were 218 charged with violent crimes, and I think there were 1,500 and change charged. Let me catch my breath. I had to do a run pudge outside.
It will be over 1,000. I guess the betting odds is whether it'll be
over 1,000 is 50-50. Oh, that's true. No, how many Jan? Oh, does he pardon today?
Yeah, right. And that part I know less. I think it'll be 1,000 people by the end of the month. I don't know if he'll sign them today or not.
That's interesting. Okay, so that's the wording of some of these. The description today, because they said, who said it? JD said, or who? No, it was Charlie Kirk said he's signing a slate, and so the numbers which they've offered are more than one. More, at least 10, at least 50, at least 100. I say at least 500 is 72%.
Might as well do everybody, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But maybe he'll just, for the time being, he'll just do all the nonviolent. He'll start there.
Which that should still
but
be
then
over.
that highlights, it makes it difficult to pardon the violent later because it highlights that.
Yeah.
So that's why I would just pardon everybody.
Well,
and Biden's giving him cover because of Fauci, Milley, and Cheney. I mean, those and his family. Those 4 high-profile pardons give Trump perfect political cover. Right now is the time to go in and just pardon everybody.
His pardoning a commutation of murderers is the cover.
Yeah, murderers and child rapists. I mean, the guy pardoned commuted the sentences of the worst human beings on the planet.
Well, I'm just trying to think statistically, even if it's the non-violent.
And by the way, I'm not referring to the murderers.
No, but even if it's nonviolent, it should still be over 1,000. But just all of it today. The question is individually, Robert, because there's another market for all of that. People are going to get some free advice here, or free sport picks.
I mean, Ross Ulbricht will be very quickly this month. I think Steve Bannon will be this month. I think Peter Navarro will be this month. Most of the January 6th defendants will be this month.
Roger Ver?
That will be the open question. Does he get to Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus, to Snowden, to Julian Assange? I think those are going to come later, is my guess. I wish they would come early, but I don't know if they will come up right away.
What would be the practical benefit to pardoning Assange? Like, other than
just a news
token?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 2 things: to punish the deep state and lawfare, which clearly Julian Assange was the victim of both lawfare and deep state politics. And Trump was too. So it's just to remind people there have been a lot of victims of lawfare, a lot of victims of deep state politics, and that Trump is working to correct all of it for everybody, even people who are not fans, admirers, supporters, or donors. And that's where I think that the holy trilogy, if you will, would be Roger Ver, Ed Snowden, and Julian Assange. Because there are 3 people that are not known Trump supporters, not known Trump donors, at times Trump critics, who were targeted by the deep state using corrupt lawfare to do it. And so that's why I think they're high-profile names that are going to get a lot of media attention around the world. So that's the 3 I would add to all the January 6th defendants. The other thing is, and I guess he said yesterday he's going to do it, declassify as much as possible.
Yep.
Everything with Russiagate, everything with the Kennedy assassinations, both Robert and John Kennedy, everything with the Martin Luther King and Malcolm X assassinations, the things with UFOs, other things that should be, and that will get a lot of public attention, and that re-emphasize the message. Biden just left pardoning a bunch of criminals in his own family. Trump is coming in pardoning victims of lawfare, victims of the deep state, pardoning whistleblowers, pardoning reformers, pardoning outsiders, pardoning people who question and challenge corrupt deep state power. So it sends a perfect narrative if he would combine those. We'll see if that's what happens. But because the combination of declassification and mass pardons is a real good way to start the new Trump administration, in my opinion.
The question that I had was, Julian Assange. I mean, so sticking it to the deep state and a token gesture, because
Same with
Assange.
Ed Snowden.
Well, but Ed Snowden, do you think Ed Snowden would come back to America because he had to live in exile as a result?
Yeah, he would if he was pardoned. Yeah.
So with Ed Snowden, I see there being more of a practical benefit to doing it, at least.
Yeah, well,
on the
Assange
benevolence.
is just a name. I mean, Assange is someone that's worldwide and global.
Okay.
But I would note Assange has come out and called for the pardon of both both Edward Snowden and Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus. Roger's less well known on that list because people have only started publicly advocating for him over the last several months. I've been doing it for the better part of a year because it was obvious what was going on. But when you have Stella Assange, Julian Assange's wife, coming out and saying Roger Ver should also be pardoned, you get a sense of the political consequence. And the other thing is with Ver, Snowden, and Assange, you have 3 people who have a global reputation, that they're known around the world. They're also popular in the crypto communities, all 3. A community that Trump is taking great efforts to reach out to and to solidify the support of.
Do you think Giuliani gets a pardon today or within the first 100 days?
He's not. Is he facing? He's not facing anything federal, I don't think. I think everything he's facing is state. By the way, Giuliani reached a settlement. Somehow they folded. I'm not sure why. What happened?
For like 6 million, something along those lines.
Right. Yeah. What you know what they're recognizing? The same thing that people in the Sandy Hook case, in the bankruptcy case, and with Alex Jones realized. They realize they have risked that the whole thing gets thrown out on appeal, and so they settle for 10 cents on the dollar, 5 cents on the dollar. In the case of Jones's case, they're settling for like less than a penny on the dollar, because they know that the cases have massive appellate exposure of being overturned, thrown out, and never getting any recovery.
Giuliani is an unindicted co-conspirator in one of the federal election cases.
That's what it is.
So,
I mean, it couldn't hurt to throw in Giuliani. But I mean, the people I think who need it are the Assange, Veer, and Snowden. Probably the one that needs it most imminently is Roger Veer, because at any time he could be picked up in McAfee in a Spanish prison, so that he faces ongoing, immediate, exigent risk. So that's why I was encouraging the Trump administration, everybody close to the Trump administration, to focus on Veer. I knew that Assange and Snowden would probably take a little time. I know he was close with Assange because I was part of the group that put forward a proposal to the president, to President Trump, to pardon him in January of 2020, January 2021. And there was several people that were close to the president that were part of the top staff hierarchy, and they signed off on it with me to pardon. And I chose not to represent people seeking pardons or commutations in 2020, so that my sole representation would be Julian Assange. And if it wasn't for Mitch McConnell, Assange would have been pardoned. So that's where I think he'll come back around to pardons for Assange and Snowden. It just might take a week or. My view is do it up front because it's going to dominate the media narrative. That they're going to want to hammer Trump on January 6 pardons. But it'll be impossible for anybody to talk about anything except the Assange and Snowden and Veer pardons. That's why you want to include those three in that list. It's smart politics, it's smart policy, and it's the right thing to do. These are three innocent people that are being wrongfully prosecuted.
Robert, I'm going to bring. I need to have my phone on. Trump is doing something here. Hold on. Okay, we got some executive orders.
Executive orders or pardons?
22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. Trump, tell us what we're looking at.
He has the fastest signature known to man.
Does he have the psycho hook? What's it called?
No, he has extreme high energy. You do handwriting analysis. His signature goes like this. But you have to have extreme
Next
energy.
one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
So we don't know exactly what he's signing.
I would like to be the guy in the back handing him stuff. Here, Mr. President, 3,455 pardons, including for myself. You signed.
Greta Garbo. That's who that's who I think Melania looks like. Hold on, let me just make sure.
Is that Senator Klobuchar? Why is she there?
Thank you, sir.
Greta Garbo.
Now 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government.
Okay. Is that Klobuchar? That's not Klobuchar.
That looks like Klobuchar.
No, I think Klobuchar was wearing more purple, I think.
Okay. Who is that lady?
We have 15 commission chairman and acting.
Oh, it might be. That's Hakeem Jeffries, that scumbag. SOB.
Yeah.
And then Chuck Ratface Schumer. Oh, God, look at Schumer. He's hiding his erection. I can tell it right now.
He was #1 at Harvard also. You know that?
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast. Very important.
Okay, pardons. Get to the pardons.
They've never done this with Biden because Biden wouldn't know what he was signing. Here, Mr. President, here you're signing a letter to your grandson. Oh, okay.
The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees.
Who was it? It was just on Alex Jones featured the video, and I think it was Speaker Johnson saying he sincerely believes Biden has no idea what he's been signing for the last however many.
Johnson admitted it. Johnson admitted that Biden admitted to him he didn't know what he'd been signing.
Yep.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. There you go. Take that.
All right, they give everybody pens.
Thank you, sir. Did you have a good meeting with former President Biden?
Very nice. Very nice. It's a beautiful custom.
Mr. President,
It goes back as long as I was. Before that, it was a stagecoach.
He would know the whole history. He's going to go through the whole history of how presidents have traveled to the White House and left the White House.
President Biden did at the last minute.
Well, I'm not going to discuss it now. I think it was unfortunate that he did that.
This man is now back in freaking charge, Robert.
I love that tie. That's a beautiful. I haven't seen him wear that color tie before.
No, it's a mixture between red and blue.
Yeah, you notice that JD and Mike Johnson both got the Trump outfit on, and Trump's got his own outfit on.
Okay, so now we got to go to man. I'm excited to see how many Jan 6ers he pardons today.
That was 3 times. It'd be great. Like right now, they came in and they all arrested Jeffries, dragged him off to the January 6th jail. Then surprise, surprise. That's how they try to pretend Trump is, right? That he'd be the kind of guy to have the Navy SEALs ready to grab him and take him to Guantanamo.
We just saw Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck
Yeah, this
Schumer,
is still one of my favorite all-time
along with
channels.
Senate Majority Leader
I love
John
C-SPAN.
Thune.
Did you ever used to watch the book notes with the book note that Brian Lamb helped found C-SPAN?
You crazy? Have I ever watched? Right, I've never watched C-SPAN until like 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah. Well, you can find old versions of Barnes on C-SPAN. There's one from me when I was a sophomore at Yale. It's still on the C-SPAN archive. You could probably go to C-SPAN archive, type in Robert Barnes, and a few should show up. Include the
Robert. Now we might be having a guest pop in, Pantelis, who's the Montreal podcaster, who's taking my +1. He was supposed to be my +1, but I couldn't make it to DC. He was at the Pasobic had a conference where there were like 200 some odd people. Lectern guy was there. Good Logic was there. And so he might be popping in to give us the lowdown from on the street. So if you see a magic face pop
there's
in,
nobody. Last time we had the people screaming. Remember the great memes? The people that as soon as they announced Trump was president in D.C., the famous chick. I
want to know where she is now. I want to identify her, like dox her.
I mean, what would it be like to be a meme, right? People come up to you and go, "Oh yeah, you were the one screaming when Trump won." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Like maybe she looks totally normal now. Maybe she's like a Trump supporter. Like, yeah, I realized the error of my ways.
Was part of Ethan's homeschooling watching the inauguration.
He unfortunately he had enough by this morning. My wife took him out to distract him with lunch. But no, I can appreciate that would have been boring for anybody who's not thoroughly interested in it. But
yeah, you have to be in it. JD was that way. JD as a kid was trying to watch C-SPAN with Bill Clinton. That kind of thing. So that's probably why I like him as much as I do. Is I relate to him tremendously because when I was a kid, I loved C-SPAN. I'd watch all the debates. I was betting on elections when I was 12. That I thought Poppy Bush was gonna win in '88, and that happened, and then Clinton would win in '92, and that happened. I bet on Bush W in 2000 and 2004 just because I always bet on the crook. And then 2008 bet I didn't bet on anybody because the odds were just Obama was a massive favorite. There was no value. 2012 bet on Barack Obama. 2016 Donald Trump. 2020 Donald Trump. He with honest odds they would have said he won. And then now 2024. But I love that stuff as a kid. I loved watching all the speeches and debates. And the like C-SPAN would have all the Congress people there. And could be like James Trafficant would do a random thing from East Youngstown, Ohio, before they locked him up some years ago. Old schools. I used to go to the library and get the Congressional Record because you could read old speeches from like the early 1900s. So I could read, Huey Long and all those kind of people. But yeah, it's definitely it's being a political nerd is what it is. There she is. I love it. That was my favorite part. I was in DC for the 2017 inauguration for Trump, and watching that was the greatest thing in the world. And then all the anarchists were like busy breaking windows everywhere, trashing everything. They conveniently forget all that. Then I went to the Deplorable that night, and the huge old protesters out there throwing batteries this big at our heads. trying to hit us.
Cernovich talked about it when I think he talked about when I had him on, but I know that he was wild.
Yeah, because he was there. He was the lead sponsor. I was a co-sponsor of the Deplorable. Peter Thiel stopped by. We had a cool crowd stop by.
Robert, I had another question here. Let's just make sure that we're not missing anything about Trump. Okay, no, just some commentary. So he's going to go sign some executive order. He signed. Well, we don't know if he signed what executive orders. That was look like transition documents. We got. I look. Now I think we got.
Make sure staffers could immediately be placed into place.
Okay, now I do see we have a guest coming in the back.
All right.
Does he need permission? No, I think Pantelis, you can come in.
There
Pantelis, sir, how goes the battle?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're loud. Well, I'll wait for the chat to tell us if one of us is too loud. So, Pantelis, you'll tell the crowd who you are. Above you is Robert Barnes. Let me see if I can do it like there's no. Is there a way to do this? No, I just kicked him out. Okay, here, Pantelis, sir, tell everybody who's watching who you are. They might know because we've known each other for a while. But who are you?
Comedian, writer, and podcaster out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That pretty much sums it up.
Now you're down in DC, and you're going to be going to the Rumble party tonight. They're going to have, I don't know who's going to be there, but it's going to be fantastic. But so how was it this morning? Where were you?
It was so much fun. I went to that, I ended up at the convention center where I was supposed to be going with Viva, by the way. He's supposed to be my Barnes, I don't know if you know this. I was supposed to be his +1. He decided not to show up. And so I'm wandering the streets aimlessly. But I got to meet all kinds of people. There was like hundreds of people there. I met the ambassador of Poland, shaking hands, touching babies, having a good time.
What's the mood like on the street? Are people out and about, or is it too cold?
Everyone's pretty positive. It's because it's MLK Day. Everything's closed also, so it's kind of quiet. But everyone's in a positive mood. No one seems to be plotting anything or angry, which is good because I thought something was going to go down for sure.
It's weird. Like we got the FBI saying, if you be careful for lone wolves and not to jinx anything. But it's over now. Like had this been outdoors, it would have been. People would be going home type thing.
Look, even indoor, like the people that I saw at the convention center, it was mostly families. To be honest, it's a lot of families, a lot of young kids. You see, I saw pretty much every race and age represented. People are high-fiving each other. They're watching the speeches. With great attention, and everyone seemed happy. Most of what the media is saying is kind of bullshit. Like everyone just seemed to be having a good time, and there's a lot of hugging.
Have you been to DC before?
Yeah,
okay,
I came to Washington 2 years ago for the PFL. My buddy Olivier Aubin-Mercier became the double champ of the PFL that year. That was the second year.
Professional Fighting League. I know that guy. He's
the Canadian gangster. It's between him and GSP. Quebec has kind of dominated the fighting landscape.
George St. Pierre, if I could, I won't. Can I take a chance? Yeah, I've got a pair of signed sparring gloves from George St. Pierre in the backdrop. Am I able to show it? I can't show it. I don't want to take a chance. Very cool. Now, so anyways, we're who at the conference with Posto? Did you see Posobiec?
No, unless I didn't. It was too many people. Like I said, there's so much more hype than you'd think of.
Really? I'm a little jealous now because now, except for the weather, and I'm the weather here is bad. The weather there is not so good. Are you going to go down to the Washington Monument or the Capitol building or anything, or is there nothing happening there?
I'm going to wait a bit, let it die out, and I was thinking I got nothing to do until the cocktail party later, so I'll probably end up getting to some kind of adventure downtown.
Well, if you see anything interesting, you'll tell us. But stick around for a bit anyhow, Robert. What I've never been this transfixed on a transitional day. Trump is president, Biden is out the effing door. What's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen next?
So now, you saw Trump start to take action. So we'll see what other actions he takes today. So he started out by just making sure certain staffers are in place, and then next is other executive orders, and then after that, the pardons, commutations, declassifications. That's what he talked about.
Today or this week?
This week, I would assume.
We better do the pardons today. Otherwise, now I appreciate all
the
of those.
thing I'm thinking is he would Biden's pardons are probably going to step on his inauguration in terms of news cycle. It would be like him to want to wait 24 hours, have the inauguration be his first news cycle, then executive orders, next news cycle, declassification, next news cycle, pardons, next news cycle. That's what I'm thinking.
But in terms of pardoning Jan 6ers today,
I don't know. That's where I didn't think it was as likely to happen. I thought it would happen this week, but not necessarily today.
I'm going to go back to get Charlie Kirk's tweet because Charlie Kirk said he had the slate already drafted and was going to sign it today. And I presume
Well,
Charlie
he may do so then.
Good intel. Pantelis. First of all,
I have a question. I have a question regarding Biden's pardons. If Fauci didn't do anything wrong, what's he being pardoned for?
Exactly. Just in case, because he's going to be wrongfully targeted by all these haters. Back to 2014 too. I mean, the reality is, of course, he's been committing crime since the 1980s, as Robert Kennedy details in his book. But I assumed as soon as Robert Kennedy said that he would recommend him being referred, I was like, okay, Biden's going to come in and pardon him. I thought, the Fauci, Cheney, Cheney was the guarantee. Fauci was next up. Milley would be third, and his family would be fourth. And he did all of them. And he did all of them when I thought he would.
Well, no, and I told you, Barnes, when we were talking, I said if he's going to pardon Liz, he's going to pardon Kinzinger, and if he's going to pardon the whole committee, he can't just do Benny Thompson and Liz. And he did the whole committee, and then
he did the staffers.
And witnesses. So Hutchison, the woman Hutchison, who colluded with
committed
Cheney.
Perjury, all the witnesses who lied, and all the fraud and perjury and crimes connected to that committee in January 6th. All those people have been pardoned.
Charlie
now, not
Kirk,
the DO. He didn't pardon anybody at DOJ.
Unless we haven't got, unless there's something still coming in. No, Charlie Kirk yesterday tweeted out January 19. Yeah, yesterday. Breaking, President Trump will be signing a massive, quote, slate of J6 pardons immediately after being sworn in tomorrow. The pardons have already been drafted. So he better get this out today for the sake of a lot of people. Oh, man. Yeah, so he didn't. So I didn't understand why there was even discussion about Judge Juan Marchand, who's a state level judge. Civil rights violations, Robert. That's the federal charge.
It'd be federal civil rights violations.
And is there a state civil rights violation?
Yeah, the states have their own version.
Okay, so state charges
for
all of them.
But it doesn't surprise me he didn't pardon. He doesn't think of a judge or a official as needing a pardon. Is the way his mind works.
Oh, we're being told that was Klobuchar next to him. I guess it made sense because
I thought it was. Yeah.
Pantelis, what's going on? First of all, what's going on in Canada with the mood of the new douchebags running for the leadership of the? Pantelis, was I too mean on Karina Gould over the weekend?
Well, it's weird when you're mean at all because we don't expect it from you.
No, but that's only because you only know me in person.
A little aggressive. It seems super mean. Like what set him off?
That effing bee is what set me off to talking about beaver tails. No, but so what's the mood up in Canada?
It's not as happy as you'd think because everyone is under the impression that, well, first of all, the leadership race for the Liberals is hilarious. You're getting people that have been in the country for 3 years who are like, I'm going to run. They don't speak French. They don't realize it's a bilingual country. One guy came out and he was saying last week, he goes, look, I know what's important to Quebec, and it's not the French language, which is an insane thing. It's like telling Americans, look, I know what's important for America, and it definitely isn't the First or Second Amendment. It's insane. It's completely ridiculous.
So the three that I knew that were running is Karina Gould, Mark Carney. Did Chrystia Freeland? Oh, she did announce. Okay.
She's
not official. She has not officially done. So you got Frank Baylis, the former.
It was the Indian guy that was. They just asked him. They go, "Are you bilingual?" He's like, "How's your French?" And he just replied, "No."
There's Chandra Arya. Is that the person? An Ottawa area was the first from the current Liberal caucus to declare his candidacy. Yeah. Chandra Arya. I have to go find. Yeah. So there's a bunch of people: Chandra Arya, James Batista, Karina Gould, Jonathan Wilkinson. I don't know a lot of these people. So you got incompetent nincompoops who are going to try to fill in the position of the crooked.
The current incompetent nincompoop.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's not looking good. Also, the economy, man. We've been looking at the debt. It's not going well. I don't know what we're going to do. I think we have to start selling our natural gas. Maybe get the oil pumping again.
Well, that's a fair point, Barnes. Trump didn't mention anything about Canadian tariffs during any of his speech. You think laying off message hurt?
No. I mean, it's going to be his negotiation with everybody. So now, I guess, did he say Gulf of America?
Yes, he did. He did.
That's great. It's not the Gulf of Mexico. It's the Gulf of America. In fact, we should do it correctly. We should drop the A, put an apostrophe. So it's Gulf of America.
Someone was floating the legal theory that now any contract involving the Gulf of Mexico is no longer applicable because they've renamed it. This is, Robert, under the law.
But my favorite, you see the favorite conspiracy theory? Trump wasn't really inaugurated today. His hand wasn't initially on the Bible when the oath started. That means it's not really Trump as president.
How the hell did anybody get that out so fast?
There's nothing magical about your hand on the book that creates the presidency.
Yeah.
Charlie Tate is talking at rally. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on. Well, let's see. Hold on. I think I might have to refresh. If I boot myself out, my apologies. I'm going to come back.
Yeah,
he booted himself out.
It'll be right back in just a second.
And now I got the bottom corner. Now let me see if I share screen. Is it gonna share? So we got this. We see this now? Oh no, hold on. So all right. Oh, look
there
at
you go. Sweet.
Oh, this is cool.
Bring this up and see what's going on. Okay.
American Horizon.
Oh God.
It's by Jane Wilson.
Overshare again.
Her family
here.
Seymour, Iowa.
Drivelly
Coming from the middle of our country, Senator Fisher and I both like the painting because the artist is from America's heartland, but the horizon could easily be Florida, Mr. President. I will also note that this is the first time in history we are featuring the work of a woman artist at this lunch, and we thank the Art Institute of Chicago for their assistance. Looking at the vast open landscape of this painting, we're drawn to the bottom of the frame where the land or the water, depending on where you're from, meets the sky, and the horizon endures. The enduring horizon is especially meaningful for us today as we mark our enduring democracy as we approach its 250th anniversary. It's a reminder that what's over the horizon is our next chapter. And it is my prayer that the people in this room can.
I've never understood why people like her in Minnesota. It made me doubt people
I'd now
in Minnesota.
like to ask U.S. Senate Chaplain
Didn't they also
Dr.
like Tim
Barry
Walz?
Black, and
Yeah,
we
exactly.
thank
So, I
God
mean,
he is
there's something
back
wrong with the
us
people
and
up
in good health to deliver the invocation, after which lunch will be served. Thank you.
After which lunch will be served.
Why did she mention lunch? It's like you ruined.
Oh no, I'm channeling.
Does Don
Let
Jr.
us
get,
pray.
Or Don Jr. You got stuck at the same table with Chuck Schumer.
King of kings and
I'm
Lord
just picturing
of
the scene from
lords,
Step Brothers. Like I
whose
wanted the
kingdom
chicken.
is above all earthly kingdoms,
200 executive orders
and
will
who
be signed today,
judges
as per Charlie
all
Kirk,
lesser
says Marty Smith fan.
sovereignties.
So he already did sign a bunch
Look
of
with
other.
No, it says
favor
will be 200
upon
will be signed.
President Donald John Trump and Vice President James David Vance. Empower them with the wisdom and
Is he the first
courage
vice president we know by his
needed
initials?
for our time.
I never even realized that his first name is not Jay.
From the vicissitudes and challenges that obstruct the making of a world of justice, peace, and righteousness. Lord, give them a deep desire to do their best for our country and world, and a determination to act in ways pleasing to you.
Oh, they're going to accuse Trump of having fallen asleep again.
Their families in
He's
health
too old to be president.
and strength.
I don't blame
Why
him.
did he get stuck
By your
next to
grace
Klobuchar?
and
who's
power.
it? Melania stuck.
Bless
next to?
now this
I mean, I guess
luncheon
if you wanted to highlight
as each of us
how pretty you are
finds
compared to the
your
rest, I mean, that's a
grace
good comparison.
sufficient.
Look at the profile of her face.
for
It's like
every need.
a painting.
We pray in your sovereign name.
I don't
I don't know
like
about you,
that.
but that painting looks kind of lame to me.
I was going to say, Robert, I swear to,
kid could have done that painting.
I was on the I was just about to say, I don't like that painting because it doesn't even abide by the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So it looks like there's too much sky and not enough water.
Yeah, exactly.
Any news on the January 6th?
Yes, turn the volume down and bring it up into the backdrop.
There we go.
Any news on the Jan 6 protesters are supposed to be pardoned? Just because I met some people that were waiting for their friends. They go, there's some people outside of the jail. There's people waiting.
Yeah, dude, I can't share all private DMs, but like there's people literally waiting for celebration.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do it by the end of the day. But you know, it didn't strike like Trump's natural tendency wouldn't be to do that day one. It would be to do it the next day because he wants the speech and the ceremony to dominate the news cycle tonight. So I think if he does it, it will be after the news cycle is passed.
You're discouraging me now. I might want to abandon my position in the. I didn't realize it has to be done today on day one. So there's. Oh, Kalshi can find a way to be the house and just take all the money.
Yeah.
My wife. Ooh. Well, come and say hi. Come on, my wife. If she comes in and she's good.
Oh yeah, you got your book,
Louis. We got the author's copy here. Tell everybody what you did to make this come to.
I put this on Amazon for everyone to see.
There you go.
What did I do to put it
together?
together?
Like how do you format a book into a book on Amazon?
We use Canva. It's a pretty easy software that you can. It's like free. Just copy and paste. We had a really.
Whoa! You don't give the book away for free. Are you crazy? I'm joking.
Have you talked about your Illustrator?
Oh, I'm going to do it right now.
Talk about the Illustrator. I copied and pasted and put everything in Canva.
It's
and then you upload on Amazon. It's actually very easy.
It's not easy.
Watch a 10-minute YouTube video and.
Well,
Canva. This is what we'll give away for free here, peeps. Abigail Martin, who is a daughter of a community member, and her profile is Abigail is a 15-year-old up-and-coming artist who normally specializes in realism, but could not pass up the opportunity to work with David to make Louis the Lobster come to life. She wanted to challenge herself to come up with a unique style for this book that reflects the childlike wonder that David brings to this charming story. I didn't write this. This is too good for me to write. Illustrating this book also helped her with many of the challenges common to those living with autism, learning and developing ways of dealing with overstimulation and burnout while working collaboratively with others. Abigail loves art, obviously, music, classic movies, and traffic cones. Hence the picture. It's fantastic. So this is on Amazon right now.
She had all creative freedom. We just sent her the script and she put it all together. So each page is her illustration. We just said go with it, and we trusted her. And she just
it's amazing.
We didn't make any changes. She just sent it as is.
I want to show the one that I loved the most. Well, not the one that I loved the most, but this one right here.
Oh.
When she's looking at her dinner and then realizes, how can I eat him? I love him.
Based loosely off a true story.
The lobster did not return to the wild alive. He did. Well, we don't know what happened. He rolled into the ocean with the waves.
I feel like you ate the lobster.
Not the. I swear to you, this one we put back in the water, but I was not. It was 50-50. It's odds of frolicking with its friends, but we still eat lobster. They're very delicious animals, crustaceans. Okay, now
did you guys talk about the speech?
A little bit. I mean, it was.
It wasn't a bad speech. It was a good speech.
No, I did jokingly say as he's giving it, they're going to make this. This is going to be the longest one ever, or they're going to talk about that. And it wasn't even that long, but it was the longest one ever. 29 minutes.
I mean, he had a lot of stuff to address.
It was good. The after speech was even better, but it's. It's. Oh, hold on. Okay, there's a chat. It's the dawn of a new era, and it's totally amazing. My wife is pretty, naturally pretty, says Buffalo Betsy. Just don't let her serve the salad. Oh, don't let her serve the salad for Klobuchar. Here, greetings and Roberts. Good. Please discuss the Biden pardon of the nefarious Mary McCord, who has been the key lawfare against the President Trump from the Flynn gaslight through the FISA 702. Did he pardon McCord? I don't know. Yeah, tell us who she is, because I don't even know her by name yet.
So these are the lawfare: Norm Eisen, Barb McQuade, that whole group of outside lawyers who were organizing and orchestrating the lawfare. And I thought, the deep state would like them pardoned, but I wasn't sure whether he would add them to the list.
Yeah, it says here, yes, McCord was pardoned by Biden. This is actually as part of a series of last-minute pardons. Okay.
Wow. He went that. Did he pardon Eisen?
Did Biden pardon Norm Eisen? Why would Norm Eisen, a lawyer, need a pardon? Let's see here. No, he didn't pardon him. Post on X confirmed that Norm Eisen was not pardoned by Biden. Well, that's anti-Semitic. Sorry, I had to. It's obligatory. That was a joke, everybody. Let me get some more of these questions up here. There's a lot in our locals community. Barnes, please expand on the AJ settlement. Is there a settlement agreement taking place of the 1.5 billion? Yeah, Barnes. So you mentioned Texas plaintiffs are settling, but not the Connecticut plaintiffs.
Right. What is the Texas plaintiffs have said they'll accept a certain amount rather than continue arguing with the Connecticut council how to handle the bankruptcy estate. And basically, my understanding is it's $1 million a pop. So for I think there were 4 plaintiffs. So
That's
for $4
amazing.
million, they're out.
Yeah, and he was offering, unless I'm mistaken, Pantelis, you're familiar with the Alex Jones we've talked about this a bunch of times, but they had more on the table that they said no to already.
Yeah, the
What's going on with Alex Jones now?
Say it again.
What's going on with Alex Jones?
He's looking freaking healthy, is what he's looking. I said
no,
it.
He's looking great. He's looking like a supervillain in a comic book. I love it.
Yeah. With the way he's got the goatee thing going.
No, he looks like he's lost weight. He looks younger. I mean, apparently he has been. Who was it saying it that he's on some sort of regiment a la UFC? Was it? It might have been Rogan talking about it. That he's. I think he's stopped drinking alcohol and he started exercising. I mean,
well, yeah, he for years he's wanted to stop drinking. Because he's been public about alcohol's not his friend.
Pardoning Assange and Snowden, this is coming from Schnookums, would lower the fears of others wanting to expose. That I can agree with.
Absolutely, that's the other utility. It says that we live in a pro whistleblower era, not an anti whistleblower era.
If they discover, this is from Sec 808, if they discover Biden wasn't actually aware of what he was signing off, somebody else signed the pardons, can they be overturned? They can. I mean,
Nope.
I don't think so.
I want to see what.
Generally, they make that impossible for some good reasons, some bad reasons.
Let's see what we got. If pardoned individual lies after pardon, refuses to talk, is a new crime. Yes, it only up until. Thank you both. Best day ever 2025. That is Aberg. Entry required says Taco Jill always reminded me of Carol Burnett wearing curtains. I don't know what the heck that means. Please turn up our volume. I think we've taken care of that. Marine one should drop Biden off at the Amtrak station. Okay, I'll get to a bunch of these afterwards. So Pantelis, without disclosing the location or too much detail, the party is this evening, the Rumble after party. There's going to be some fun stuff there. I'm a little jealous. You're gonna.
I don't know who's going to be there. But I'm expecting some fun people.
It should be damn good. And it's a shame. I think it was I don't know if it was security or weather, but at the RNC they had an outdoor studio live. During the day at the. There was another one at the. They had the outdoor studio at Tuscaloosa, the Tuscaloosa RNC debate, and it was freezing. I mean, at least by fall standards. Pantelis. For everybody to find you I'm not kicking you out at all, but so I don't forget. Where can people find you, and what are you up to now? You're going on tour, right?
Yeah, I'm on tour already, both in English and in French in Quebec. So in Quebec, I get to do it in French all around those little cities, and in English everywhere else. Panteliscomedy.com for everything. You got the podcast, you got the Patreon.
Before you're going to get excoriated, and you remember what happened to Gad?
I am Greek.
You're Greek, but you say. Perfectly bilingual. You do stand up in French.
I'm trilingual. I speak Greek, English, and French, and I'm angry in all three of those languages.
Do you remember when Gad Sad got in a lot of trouble for making a joke about the French Canadian accent?
Yeah, I remember.
Do you do edgy humor involved at the expense of French Canadians?
Well, you could call it edgy. I do edgy humor at the expense of everyone. I don't leave it.
When people told me that the French of Montreal were like the rednecks of Canada, and I was like, really? I was like, because you think of the French as kind of snobby and kind of whatever from Paris, and I got them like they're like East Tennessee, but they just speak French. They got like big boats. They like to show off their big boats.
They're less rednecky. They're kind of like Texas in the sense that they love their freedoms. They take their history and their culture very seriously. So it's weird because the dichotomy is that a lot of people get mad at them for it. But it's the most understandable thing. Why wouldn't you love your culture and want to uphold it? I love them. I think they're in Canada. The best thing about Canada is Quebec.
In general, Robert, like the French from France do look down on all of the French Canadians, like the way the Brits look down on Alabama. And I'm not trying to be mean at all. It's just like they consider the
I thought
French
it was awesome. I was like, I like these French better than the French in France.
Oh no, they're
different. They're different people. Yeah.
Yeah, they're more blue collar. They're more down to earth. They're more accessible. They like ordinary things. They don't think they're better than everybody else on the planet. Though anybody that speaks a little bit of French thinks they're superior at some level. But
I don't think I have a French Canadian accent at all. But apparently, when I went to Paris, I did. But you go to Paris with a French Canadian accent, I mean, they'll look at you like you are the dregs of the universe.
They talk shit. Yeah, they talk all kinds of shit.
So and I was going to make the joke because you said you're going to these small towns. Where are you going to tour in Quebec? And I mean, I'll know the cities, but I'll explain them to people.
You'll know. There's L'Assomption, Lavaltrie, Chambly, Saint-Jean.
Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, or like Saint-Jean-Lac-Saint-Jean?
Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu is where my wife's, where my wife is from. It was from Bedford, but
Really?
Do you go up to like Val-d'Or? You don't go that far.
Yeah. I was at Val-d'Or a couple of months ago. Val-d'Or actually, it's something so funny happened in Val-d'Or, which I just found out that some of the locals were talking shit about me. Because when I was there on my tour last year, a year ago actually, February of last year, and they set me up in a hotel. And Val-d'Or has a problem with a lot of indigenous crackheads. And I showed up at the hotel. And I go to my room, I'm taking a shower, and people were trying to break into my room while I was taking a shower like 2-3 times. And then after I was ready, I confronted someone who had walked into my room. And I was like, what are you doing here, you stupid crackhead? So I just started going crazy on the guy. So I said, look, I'm not staying here. Book me another hotel. A crackhead just broke into my room. I don't want to be here. And apparently now, a year later, they're saying Pantelis, when he was doing his tour here, he's such a diva. He didn't want to stay in that hotel because he doesn't like crackheads.
I need to show this.
I would have stayed even if there was crackheads outside. I was mad that they tried to come into the room. That's where I drew the line.
I have to admit, I've never heard. Oh, you're such a snob. You don't like people breaking in. You don't like thieves. You don't like anybody.
Yeah.
No,
I have my laptop there.
People need to appreciate.
People are awesome, but the crackheads not so much.
So Montreal is here. Val-d'Or is up here, and like people need to get scale on this. Val-d'Or,
it's so far.
Is like 7 hours north of Montreal, and it's not to besmirch. It's got problems.
You're to the part of Canada we're going to have to take.
No, I think that would only be for the resources to get the land bridge to Alaska.
What we do is we take Canada, deport all the people to England. We'll let Viva Pastel, a few people stay that are decent, and then we take all the resources.
Val-d'Or is I'm just trying to get some official stats on crime. The crime rate. Oh no, that's so it's not a very. It's north, but it's got a lot of problems, a lot of social problems, and it's in the middle of nowhere. Like you only hit Val-d'Or when you want to go to Bay James or like north. So. Dude, what's the comedy club like in Val-d'Or?
Well, it was there's a company that does like events down there, so they got different bars, it's a lot of like the people are good because they're hard. It's all miners up there, so it's all mine. So it's cool people. It's just that there's so much crackheadery up there. If you're not working and you're just on a social program, there's not much to do. Imagine living somewhere so far. There's not really any events. There's not that much hope if you're not working at the mines. So once you fall into that scheme of drugs, it's super hard to get out.
Someone said Val-d'Or is 3.5 hours from Montreal. No, it's not.
No,
it's 7 hours. I drove there once from Montreal.
7 hours, yeah. It's 7 hours. Yeah.
It's 6 hours and 15 minutes if there's no traffic. I mean, understand that's like you're driving north, and the issue that it's a problem in Canada. It's the same problem in the States also. Like there's a large issue among the native population in terms of alcoholism and drug addiction, and they end up on the streets, and they end up especially in towns like this, which are near reserves. It's a big problem that has been.
Yeah, we don't do a good job at all. Like there's a lot of lip service from the government, but what I see practically when I go on tour is we do not do a good job. We're very, very, very shitty to these people.
If we're getting some chats over on Rumble, it says the uterus thief asks. Isn't there supposed to be a terror wave of door-to-door death squads sweeping the nation starting today? The party of super honest and universally superior scientists assured me there would be. Marty Smith fan says, Viva Robert. Someone said there is a desk at the arena for Trump to use to sign it. Maybe he signs at the rally. Can't confirm. Oh, S. Laird. I heard that as well, by the way.
That'd be cool. That'd be a cool way to do it.
And oh God, can you imagine the cheers that he gets if he pardons all of Jan 6? Oh God. I'm going to continue to wish and touch wood. Is it? And by the way, you know the wood that I'm touching? Hold on. This is the wood that I'm touching. This is. I got two of them. I got to auction one of them off. I keep saying this, like I'm going to auction one of them off, but I got two. One is to keep and one is to auction. So yeah, that's the lectern guy. He had them made and he sent me two.
I think I don't know if it was Babylon Bee or somebody had a inauguration and they had the person doing the swearing in of Trump, the Buffalo guy.
Who the shaman?
Yeah, the shaman.
The hat. Oh,
that'd be great. Replace Justice Roberts with the shaman. Let the shaman come in and swear him in.
Marty Smith fan says Hillary wore purple at her concession speech in 2016. That would be funny. Chafed Bum says, if you are declared functionally retarded and unable to stand trial, how can you sign anything that is legally binding? Marty Smith fan says, how do we find out what he's signing? Executive orders. We'll find that out afterwards. Chafe Bum, call your AG's office, demand they issue arrest warrants for Frauci, J6, Committee felons and Biden homo. I know what homo means now. It stands for child molester. I know. Chomo. Yeah, that's what they said in prison.
chomo.
Yeah, because in prison you're not allowed. I think prison you're not allowed referring to them as chomos. Oh, that was Blagojevich who said that in his podcast with Rogan. Who cares? Make something okay, fine. Sign of Jonah says, Barnes, I side with Scalia regarding the Constitution. I am an originalist. What are your thoughts on the living document interpretation?
Well, I'm an originalist too. Scalia was an originalist about 80% of the time. 20% of the time, he wasn't an originalist. That's where my disagreement with Scalia or Thomas or Gorsuch ever come about. It's when they decide to not be originalist. That, you read the words in the language, as Huey Long once said, I want the Bill of Rights and the Constitution to read in the words they were written in. And that's what I'm of the same mindset. And when they do that, I don't got a problem with it. Even if I think there's a different policy, then we change the Constitution, not by amendment, not by unilateral judicial decree.
Chafe Bum says, what's to stop Biden from pardoning all 20 million invaders? He could pardon in the name of insert.
Well, look at Jimmy Carter. Carter pardoned, what was it, 1 million plus people that fled potentially?
So what did Carter do?
Anybody that had fled, but to dodge the war, dodge the Vietnam draft, were pardoned. And it was just if you had done this, you were pardoned. So it was a categorical pardon without listing any names. It just said anybody who was part of this is hereby pardoned. And so how many people? 10,000, 100,000, 1 million? It was unknown exactly how many were pardoned in that group, but he pardoned every draft dodger. It was very controversial at the time.
I'm inclined to think I would agree with that pardon.
Well, yeah, because I opposed the war. And I oppose drafts. I mean, it makes. I mean, even Dershowitz momentarily had to take a step back when he was arguing. Well, from the draft you can do all these things, and if it's constitutional, clearly this is. It's like, think about that for a second. If the draft is really constitutional, we have no rights. You can forcibly take away my liberty and force me to go and kill people. And if you have that constitutional right or liberty, then what constitutional right or liberty do you have as an individual? The government can do that to you. There's no way the draft is constitutional. It's never been constitutional. I don't care what the courts can say whatever they want. They're flat out wrong. It makes no sense logically that you can take someone's entire freedom away and force them to go and murder people and say that we have a constitutional republic.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't anymore.
Right. Good question here from our locals community from Red Sox 1983. Robert, don't answer. Let me answer it and see if I'm not wrong. Does Milley's pardon prevent him from being court-martialed? My understanding is not, correct? The court-martial system operates independently from the federal criminal system, and he could still be court-martialed.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, that's going to be one of my
I don't know if he included in Milley's pardon something that technically the president is the chief military officer, so he probably could, under military rules, pardon him from that as well. But I don't know. It's an interesting question. Does the federal pardon? Well, it extends to everything that's under federal law. Does it extend to the military? It probably does. I bet that's come up before. Maybe some of the Vietnam guys, some of the other guys. That's a good, that's a good question. I haven't thought about it in quite some time.
And then we got Buffalo Betsy. There are substantial differences between legislative immunity and a pardon. The latter carries an imputation of guilt and acceptance of confession of it, while the former is non-committal and tantamount to silence of the witness. Burdick versus the United States.
Yep.
Does Milley's federal pardon apply to military prosecution? That was from Blue Seawolf Soldier. We got that one too. Sammy says, sorry, I've been popping in and out. I'm not sure if you went over it already. That was Amy Klobuchar, and she's there because she is chairwoman of the Joint House-Senate Inaugural Committee. Today is a great day for America.
Figured it was some crap like that.
I'm going to go up to the top and make sure I get everything here. The biggest, most beautiful win that's ever been won. I agree. That's from Kikim, K-I-K-I-M. Ithaca 37 Cato. If someone clips me saying that the name, I could get in trouble. Newsflash. Later today, Kamala and Big Mike are divorcing their hubbies so they can get hitched. The one again says follow. What does it say here? Donald Trump, POTUS. Oh, he changed his profile on Twitter and says America's back. The Norwegian press sucks a huge bag of dicks. This is coming from Dirk Digglesworth. I don't know what Norwegians did today to cause this problem. As far as General Milley is concerned, this is from Red Team 33. Copied directly from the Manual for Courts Martial. Article 12, 88, contempt toward officials Text of statute, any commissioned officer who uses contemptuous words against the president shall be punished as a court-martial may direct. Maximum punishment, dismissal, forfeiture, pay allowances, yada, yada, for 1 year. Also included in this text, the truth or falsity of the statement is immaterial. That's interesting. And I
because he's the chief commanding officer, so that's the restriction when you're in active duty military, when you're an officer.
I have a question for Robert. During the speech, when Trump was talking about, look, we're taking back our cities from all these gangs, I'm assuming he was speaking about things like what was happening in Colorado.
Yeah.
So what's stopping them, right? Is he going to use the military? Like, what's stopping people, right? What laws are they using to allow these people?
It'll be
to go
ICE.
to these cities?
Well, they're here illegally, and I mean, he's already shut down the app that the Biden administration set up an app that basically made it easy for illegal immigrants to get into the country. But the other is that the illegals have entered, and that they release them with a promise to appear in 2 years whenever their asylum hearing is. And so the worst gangs that have come in, I talked about this with Viva yesterday. The original the gangs that I think people in the American deep state, national security apparatus, whatever you want to call them, cut a deal with the Sinaloa cartel to take over certain operations so that they could use the Sinaloa cartel for their own purposes. And including gun running, smuggling, other operations you would want if you're deep state type operatives. But the gangs that are much worse than the Sinaloa cartel is the Venezuelan gangs. They grew up hardcore. They're even worse than MS-13, which almost every single one of these gangs is tied to U.S. policy over the past half century. And that's the other thing, right? I mean, where does MS-13 come from? It comes from all the civil wars in Guatemala and Honduras and Central America. Who precipitated those? U.S. intervention repeatedly is the primary culprit, or at least a culprit. But so as you got to more severe circumstances, the way these gangs came up, the conditions in which they came up, you got gangs that were more and more severe. I mean, that's why like the Russian mob easily dominated Europe for a while, because they grew up under the most severe conditions. Now it's the Albanians who are just the most vicious. Venezuela is that times 10. The Venezuelan gangs are notoriously vicious. It's how they establish their power. Mm-hmm. They come in and they make it clear that they're more violent and more extreme than everybody else, so that they can gain. That's their power. That's their leverage. And what happened is the Venezuelan government, to pay back the U.S. government for its sanctions, and to solve its own crime problem, went to the gangs and made it so that they could get to the United States and say, go to the United States and cause your trouble there. And we won't lock you up here if you go and do that. And George Soros, NGOs, and UN-sponsored groups and Biden administration-sponsored groups helped facilitate that. Part of what Brett Weinstein documented when he went down to Panama, that these were being organized all the way through from South America up to here, including people from Africa, people from China, people that may have terrorist orientations from the Middle East. Basically it was an organized effort. They didn't just sort of random, and that's how they came in here. And the numbers now are all over the place. We think anywhere from 10 million to 30 million. You're talking about up to 10% of the country is illegal aliens in the country, if those numbers are right. And what it is, they raided big cities, and the Venezuelan gangs, their whole MO is be the most violent. Mm-hmm. So they're coming in and displacing local gangs. So that's what he's referencing. What he's going to do is he's going to make a big effort about going after the criminal gangs that are part of the illegals operating here, and doing it in big democratic cities to start. Chicago, New York, probably at some point L.A. The LA's got the fire issue, so he'll probably dominate on that. But that even has a criminal gang element. It's criminal gangs were flying in, going and committing crime, being released the same day by the Soros prosecutor, flying home with their stolen booty. A whole bunch of gangs were helping start fires so they could go and loot houses and properties in those neighborhoods after they lit the fires up, once the fires got out of control over in the Malibu and the Palisades. So it's severe. And so Aurora, Springfield, Ohio, these are just the tip of the iceberg. Basically, all across the country, you've got criminal gangs that have come in to try to take over operation, primarily Venezuelan, but not exclusively at all. Still Mexican gangs and MS-13 Central American gangs involved there. But that's why his focus is make that the priority of the illegal immigration push, and then send the message out to the whole world: America's closed for business, not open for business. that usually deters and discourages people from coming into first. That's how Trump succeeded so much in his first term. He didn't have a lot of mass deportations in his first term, but he sent out a message of being tough on immigration so that immigrants were like, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to get arrested and thrown in jail for forever. Trump's in charge. So I think that will be his other goal in that regard.
I'm going to read a bunch of the super chats before they disappear. We got Rachel over on CommieTube that says, I don't understand. How can someone be pardoned if they haven't been charged with a crime yet? The precedent is
the pardon power is the right to pardon for any crime you may have committed. So the pardon power has never been limited to whether or not someone's been prosecuted. The pardon power is an old power. It derives from the original idea that the king is the emissary of God and the representation of God. And so that his conscience, if you will, makes ultimate determinations of guilt or innocence. And thus he could issue whatever pardon he wanted, whenever he wanted. We borrowed that power and put the same power into the Constitution for the president that we gave as it relates to federal crimes. He has a carte blanche to pardon anybody. I think it should apply to state crimes, my own view. But and that's a minority view in the legal academy based on the language of the Constitution. But I think there's grounds by which you can argue that it should be if you understood the original or purpose and principle of the pardon power. But I'm for the pardon power. You know, how presidents use it, we can be critical of it, but it's not a reason to pull back on the constitutional policy.
And Kevin Patrick on CommieTube says, the problem with court-martialing Milley is that if the penalty is severe, he has to have 11 jurors and all have to be higher in rank. He was a 4-star, and I don't think there is enough Army 4-stars to have it. I don't know anything about that, but Rachel S.
Him to the front lines of Ukraine. He loves the Ukrainian war. He said those Ruskies are a bunch of wusses. All right, go ahead. Go to the front line. See how that works out for you, Millie.
We got Rachel S. says, angry Canadian, help. My house is on fire. Yeah, really, I'm 5'1" and 105 pounds. I'll need to be rescued from a burning building. The last thing I want is someone who looks like me. And we're talking about that phenomenally stupid comment made by that woman for the Los Angeles Fire Department. Did we miss? I got another one here over. It says, Milley pardon included United States UCMG.
I was guessing he did. That Biden would include that.
That's from Spudman WP. Then we got Ratat Toskor says, some are saying Michael Byrd was pardoned. That leads to the question, murder would usually be a state level crime, but the capital.
Yeah, I think he pardoned every police officer connected to January 6th. So I think he did pardon Byrd. Now that doesn't stop the civil suit from going forward.
We got an answer to the question about whether or not there'd be preemptive pardons. And did we get anything here? RB making moolah on your advice. Thank you, says Susie C. Red Sox 1983 says, okay, Mark court-martialed. All right.
I don't want to bring this down. I don't want to make everyone sad. I know we're having a good day. However, big question. I think only Robert could answer this one. If Trump doesn't go after the Soros and those kind of, the dark side, the people who are always doing things behind the scenes, isn't this just going to be more of the same moving forward? Don't you have to get rid of these people?
My view is, he'll make dramatic headway either way. So we'll have dramatic improvement in a whole bunch of areas just by not doing the negative. I used to say, just stop the bleeding, right? So just by not doing bad trade deals, we won't lose more jobs. By not figuring out new excuses to get into wars in new countries, we'll avoid new wars like he did his first term. So he'll have successes that are pretty extraordinary. But to really change the country back to its original direction requires that the bad actors face consequence so that the future bad actors know they would face consequence. So I agree that if he's going to have the change he wants to have, the impact he needs to have, that the country wants him to have, there has to be consequences for the George Soroses and the Bill Gateses of the world.
Legally, can he? Is there enough right now that he can say, hey, look, this was going against our people?
Yeah, they're all over the place. I mean, Gates was neck deep in all kinds of corruption and crimes all around the world. Same with George Soros. That both of them have been committed crime after crime after crime. And I mean that's why Poland kicked them out of Hungary kicked them out of the country. That's why Poland has excluded him systematically. Russia excluded him systematically because of how disruptive he was being to their countries and their economies and their societies. I believe all the things he did in regards to Ukraine were criminal, going back to 1991. In terms of and we have laws on the books in the United States that prevent U.S. citizens from doing illegal activities abroad. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, other laws like that. And so, it wouldn't take much. It would take about a week's worth of effort to come up with a litany of crimes that both George Soros and Bill Gates have committed. just in recent years.
And I just double checked. Neither of them have been pardoned. And Grok
I
highlights.
figured they wouldn't be. They would not want to be highlighted as having any kind of criminal activities. So it doesn't surprise me that it's the politicians that know what they did. The Biden family know what they did. The January 6th committee know what they did. That's why they were the ones that we better be on that pardon list, Joe.
Who's James Earl Ray?
James Earl Ray was the assassin of Martin Luther King.
Okay, is that a joke? Hold on. Did Biden? That must be a joke.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, he pardoned on Martin Luther King Day. He
Oh, I don't mean to laugh. I didn't. No. Okay, fine. So it's sorry again. You see, like I say, when I read the chats, I don't get the the jokes at the time. Now I'm going to get in trouble and Viva's canceled. That one again says 1.5 hour power outage. I missed all the good stuff. Well, you can watch it on replay. Schnookums says sanction and defund all NGOs exposed in the Darien Gap U.S. funds. Some of them, yeah. The Hebrew HAIC. What's that one called? Oh, it's the one that operates bringing in refugees. All right. Well, I don't want to stick around. We can't stick around and just wait and hope that he signs these pardons. But I'm gonna stay live. Not live. I'm gonna stay following it. When there's a pardon, I will certainly cover it later. Pantelis. You're going to have an evening party. Social media, where can people find you?
If you go to panteliscomedy.com, it's the easiest way because it just links to everything. And my name is not normal. Pantelis is weird for people. If they don't see me and they don't know I'm Greek, they assume it must be Indian.
Pantelis,
no, I'm Greek.
That's your first, last. Pantelis is your
first name.
Pantelis Comedy.
Last name is Paliudakis, so it's too long. So I just go by Pantelis. One name, make it easier on people. Yeah, follow me. I got podcasts. I got stand-up. I'm always yelling about something.
Dude, I'm
very upset right now, Viva, because I thought Alex Jones was going to be here, and I don't see him anywhere. Very upset.
I can't disclose certain information. No, I told you.
Pantelis he can't
Comedy,
be here.
Yeah, I don't know. Pantelis Comedy. What's the dealio here? Your website might not be. Oh, look at this. I'm going forward anyhow. How do I continue? Not listed. Panteliscomedy.com. It's saying it's not secure.
It is secure.
Turn enhance. I don't want it. Just take me to
probably because it's not HTTPS.
Blocking you. That's one of their favorite things to do.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if it's Pantel. Well, Pantel. Oh, here we go. Here, guys, see it.
No, it literally has all my links and
straight up. Got I got a look at you.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I just built a new link tree on that. Look at this.
This is in your studio. That's your studio, Montreal. It's beautiful.
Yeah. We got weekly stuff. We got tour dates. Yeah, it looks nice, right? Simple. Click on the podcast. Yeah.
So okay, I'll give everybody the link. Everyone, it's not a nasty link. And Barnes, what do you have for the rest of the week?
Got some work to do. Then we have the National College Football National Championship tonight. Got a little bit of money riding on that one as well.
Who's your pick? If we're going to get it for free now,
roll Buckeyes, roll! I can't be cheering for them Catholics.
What are the roll? We're on Kalshi or on another platform?
Not Kalshi. So it's your sports betting platforms across the country. So in Florida, it's the Hard Rock is the only place you can bet sports.
Okay.
You can download the app, the Hard Rock app, and you can bet on sports right there in Florida.
Rachel S says, this is over on YouTube. I'm from England originally, got my U.S. citizenship last Wednesday, all done the correct way, obviously. Thank you to Robert for the explanation. That's got to be a good feeling when you get your citizenship or your green card. I mean, that's
definitely
amazing. And I think we've done everything now, people. Love Barnes, are you happy with the current process of the changes? It says that one
so far,
again.
So good. It's going in the right direction. There's some things that still need to get done, and it's going to be wait and see as to whether they get done, and whether more efforts to lobby the court of public opinion to help them get done if they're not getting done. So that's a wait and see at this point.
All right.
But a lot of it's the most promising administration of my lifetime. That's how I would put it.
And we got S. Ren who says, bring all the funds home and see who squeals. And then we got Paracleric. Millie can still be made to give testimony of his co-conspirators. No fifth available to him.
True.
We will see what happens. All right, I'll be following to see who gets pardoned today and when. Stick around, Pantelis, Barnes, stick around. We'll say our proper goodbyes. Everybody out there, welcome to the dawn of a new America, people. It looks beautiful. That is it. I'll see you tomorrow. And that's it. Peace out, peeps.